Welcome to Kranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Kranky, and this is the Kranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Kranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Kranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Kranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
All right, let me know if you guys can hear me. I have no idea what happened. Something happened to my system. It just crashed on me. I couldn't see my second monitor. Can you guys hear me? And I apologize for that. See, I'm having some system problems nowadays. If you can hear me, let me know. Because I don't see anyone putting it. Look, people, I apologize. Somehow my system just froze. I couldn't see my second monitor. I couldn't see myself. I don't know where I was. But it's better that I'm up now and running. And I had this all set up, I'm not sure what happened here. But good evening, everyone. Good evening. Sorry for the mix-up. Sorry for what transpired. Bless up, Bessa. Couple of things, actually. Today, I'm going to talk about two topics. I had three topics in my intro, right? In my headlines. One was to talk about recap the Olympics for the day. Two was to talk about challenges for the Reggae Boy coach. And three was to talk about EPL update. I'm not doing EPL update today because you know why? We have too much to talk about because we had the Reggae Boyz press conference today, and I'm going to play some of what transpired. I thought it was a good conference. I was pleased, even though you guys know my feeling. Bless up, Anthony. Bless up, Ernest. Bless up, Bessa. Guys, as you come in, you know what to do. I promised myself, I was thinking about this today actually, which is I've been getting frustrated with the whole like thing. And I think I'm just stressing on something I should just leave alone. And when people come in, if they want to, I probably should say like and subscribe when you come in. If people decide not to, that's their prerogative, right? So I should stop stressing people and just do whatever it is that I need to ensure running the show. At some point, I may just say, you know what, this doesn't work for me and go do something else. But for the time being, get over myself and just people don't want to subscribe. It's their prerogative. Move on and get it done. All right? I'm sure everybody would agree with that. So it's all good. So let me go into what I want to talk about. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks. Well, you do it, but a ton of people don't. They refuse to. It's almost like you're asking for money and they refuse to give the money. And but some people like free stuff. They don't like to give out stuff that even though it's free, it's not like you're asking for something. So but I think I talk about it too much. I'll admit that. So I'm gonna move on from talking about that. I'll mention at the outset of the program. I'll mention it subsequently, but I won't spend a lot of time on it. So today, no, I was pleased for. I'm explaining why I was pleased. Actually, he wasn't asking any tough questions. Ricardo, I don't think he was asking any tough questions. I was trying to get my question. I watched the entire press conference, by the way. I was trying to get my question in. I did put a question to the. I did ask the question. I was texting someone about this and said JFF doesn't have the best Wi-Fi system, and if you're remote and virtual, you won't have an opportunity to really provide questions. Because I had questions, and I had, let's say I had 12 questions. I was trying to restructure them based on how people were asking their questions, and I wanted my question. I'm normally someone who believes that when you're asking questions in an interview setting, depending on how much time you have, it informs what a question you ask and how you ask them. What do I mean by that? So you shouldn't start out with the toughest question. You put your guest on the back foot, just like you saw me may have mentioned on my other channel, Balanced Views, about my concern when the ABC reporter went at Trump right away about the question with the elephant in the room. Those of you may not have seen that, but she went straight at him, question about race, what he said in the past. And I thought that was not the right approach, right? What you do first is it's not setting the person up, is make the conversation, make it a conversation. Don't make it a confrontation, right? Make it a conversation. And if the person warms up during the discussion, then it's easy to land those questions, which you know are going to be difficult and challenging. Bless up Drew Ross, thanks for joining, and Ricardo also. And I didn't think that the ABC reporter did, I forgot her name now, did the best job of doing that. And so Trump started out very confrontational, and you know how aggressive he gets. And the conversation went down for a while until the Fox reporter asked him these throwaway questions, which he felt comfortable with. And when I interviewed Rudolph, a lot of people were saying how soft I was and how I did this, and I'm smiling, saying it's easy to be in your seat making all these comments when my job is not to get him in trouble or to make his life difficult. My job is to get information out to the public that they want to know. That's the job of a reporter, an interviewer, is to get information out to the parties, interested parties, that they would really want to know. Bless up, Andrew. And not to be there beating, which some people love to do, and they seem to welcome that happening, especially if they think that the person is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Your job is to figure out a way to get the information out to the public as best as possible, not to try to embarrass your guests at the same time. And sometimes that may occur, just given the nature of facts and circumstances in the situation. So I do want to walk through, just do the update, as I mentioned, for the Olympics, give my perspective, especially since Father Hype lost, and we'll talk about that. I was on another channel. People thought I was a little bit aggressive in terms of how I was coming across, because I believe that Father Hype was not well, and they thought I was making an excuse for Father Hype, which is, I don't make excuse for people. And then we'll talk about McLaren. I'll play components of the interview. I want to do the entire thing with him, our entire press conference. I'm going to start off with where Ricketts is and then take it there. And I think it was a good press conference. But I think what the JFF should do and what the JFF media should do, and I hope they're listening, is that if you have a lot of people on who are from the quote unquote press, and they may be global, not just in Jamaica, physically located. So you need to set up a mechanism where those individuals can either ask questions and or send in questions and send in their best question, right? I mean, you want to have them at least be able to contribute to the conversation. Doesn't make sense you allow us to have access and we can't ask, which is they're like, I'm going to call us zombies, but just that they're listening. And we think we have something to contribute. Because I thought I put together about 10 questions and I narrowed it down to 3, given that I wasn't going to get the chance to ask 10. I may only be asked 1. And my primary question was going to be, which was sort of partly asked, and I'll throw it out now, even though I'm supposed to be talking about the Olympics, which is, given that Hallgrimson left for certain reasons, he indicated what those reasons entail. McLaren coming in, is he aware of those reasons? And if he thinks about those reasons and other challenges that he may see or hear, because people talk in England, they talk about it, we have seen things disseminated in the public about the JFF, the girls, Bailey, all that. What do you think those significant challenges are? Because there was caveat, I'm giving away the conversation now. There was caveat made by the president. There was caveat made by Rudolph about resourcing. And he basically embraces and says, bless up Asian or Asian. Should I call you Asian or Asian? Maybe you can write it out and tell me what the syllables are so I can pronounce your name. Fairly Asian, fairly. I said fairly. Pronounce your name correctly. I should say not fairly. But I think it's important in that situation that he has context, right? Because what we don't want is a year from now him saying, I can't deal with this, and he's leaving. But I'll get to what my total question would have been when I jump into that. But let me go to the Olympics, actually, and walk through this quickly, because I thought it was a very interesting day. I didn't do an Olympic show. I wasn't totally enamored by the number of events. And yesterday I did, because it was like 5 or 6 events. And sitting down for 3 hours from 12:30 to 4, to me, when it's 4.5 hours, frankly, it's hard when there's big lull in between. So I didn't do one, right? So here is I'm gonna go from 2 o'clock today, the sort of long jump outcome. Won't spend a lot of time on these, even though there's been a lot of discussion for Jamaica about field events and the perception that field events do not get there due in Jamaica. And you hear the discus throw, the lady discus throw. I want to call her name, but I have it here. Some information from her. I call out J3, and then we hear back and forth. I'm gonna say something, people. Why does Duppy know who to frighten in life? So what do I mean by that? When Frana call out the J3A, they don't threaten him. But I'm hearing that they're threatening the discus thrower because she said her coach wasn't there with her and they won't certify for her for any Olympic Games and they're going to be in themselves. Why are you threatening somebody who doesn't have the influence and the power to go toe-to-toe with you? Why don't you threaten somebody who's your size and your match to do so, right? I chastise Frano on this program because I think I think sometimes people get power and they don't know how to manage that power. And I think he's part of the problem in Jamaica when it comes to the 4x4 team and other situations that he calls out when he needs to look in the mirror. But when you're going to take on we're going to take on what's going to be the runner had a problem with them the last World Championship, and you're going to take on this lady who I don't think she's lying. I think I've been told her husband is a coach and he wasn't allowed to go. Maybe you have to pay his way. Why you want to try to bully her? Yeah, it's the right thing, Drew. Why are you bullying her? Go bully somebody your own size. These people in Jamaica sometimes who have these significant positions, and if something goes adverse to them in terms of communication and engagement, they lose their mind and they have to show people that they're the boss and they have the power. Nobody want to know that you have the power. You're J3A. You can't tell somebody if they compete and if they meet the requirements to compete at a championship, you're not going to certify them. Who the hell are you? They should discipline the person who said that. Now, does the athlete have the right to speak out? We don't know. We can figure that out. But when you come out with an emotional response to a person and you're in that position, that's not okay. That's not okay for you to do that. And you're going to try to beat this athlete and going to beat your chest. You're the J3, you're going to do this. Go away. Seriously, go away. You guys are part of the problem. You can't work with the coaches to get the athletes out there to run relays and do practice. And it's just frustrating hearing the nonsense that you're talking about. And it's not just J3A people. It's across the administrative bodies. It's same like Brogard saying he knows where the internet, the people on social media are. All these people in power and position of power and leadership, they're not leading. All they're doing is just being braggadocious and beat their chest and showing how bad they are. And it's ridiculous. That's not what leaders do. That's not what people who are supposed to be adults do. They're acting like kids. Seriously. But anyway, let me go through this quickly. So interestingly for athletics, and I was talking about this on Coach's Desk channel where he said Arshad won the javelin throw because you know that Chopra was the one from India first doing this. All of a sudden that becomes something in that region. And obviously we are pretty pleased in the Caribbean that Peters from Grenada came third. And he's been pretty consistent throughout his career so far. Yeah, Peter, Daniel Dodd. They're trying to pressure her, push her. And she was very frustrated. And can you think about it this way? You go there, you need guidance, you need comfort, you need nurturing, you need support, and it ain't there. And as she's basically said, because I listened to her conversation, which is the field events are what made Jamaica proud this Olympics. It ain't the track. It was the field events. We have one medal in both the long jumps, triple jump women, long jump men, gold medal, the only gold medal so far in the discus men, and then the shot put men, we won bronze and almost won silver. On the track, what we won? We won. Kishane won his silver, and then we had bronze today from Broadwell. And granted, look, we have been phenomenal on the track over the years, but the field events are becoming more important. We can see we can do well there on a global stage. We got to support all our athletes, and we shouldn't try to bully them. Not at 200. So I got a lot of beating on this because I was saying in this race, I did say yesterday on this channel that, Tobogo had ran really well. He looked really comfortable. We know how well he ran when he was a junior and have a lot of potential. And he looked really good in the semifinal. But I didn't think when I saw Noah that he was totally healthy yesterday, even though one could say, well, yeah, Kranky, but he ran the 100 and he didn't win any of them in the final. So how can you say that? But when you watch somebody run, and sometimes when he's running, you can know when he feels comfortable. And even if he loses, he can tell you, he's like, you know what? I don't really care. The finals ain't here. But I didn't see that yesterday and today, even though what did Tobogo run? 19.45, which is a great time. And everybody's saying Noah couldn't run 19.45. Noah's best time is 19.3. 19.3 what? 19.3.1? Something like that. I know people are going to say, well, he did it in Eugene, Oregon, and it's high altitude and track is fast. 19.3 is 19.3. Anyway, you run it. Even if the wind is 2.0, still 19.3. So that's and a lot of people have run their personal best in this Olympics. You go look at the season's best, personal best, national record. A lot of people have done that in this Olympics. I'm not sure. I know it does a good job of running from behind. He didn't look up to it today. Now people will say, well, you're taking away from Tobogo by trying to say he wasn't healthy. To me, he wasn't healthy. He was talking about winning. I don't think he should have ran. I think if you have COVID, like they say he does, let's say he does, you're exposing other people, other athletes, other individuals there in spreading the disease, and it shouldn't be allowed to run. Sorry. I don't care what he brings to the table. You can't afford that. And I believe there are other athletes there who are sick. Like yesterday, for example, Price has been running under 49 this season. One of the few people doing that. Maybe only one other person been doing that. And Price ran 50 plus in the semis, and she died in the stretch. Nikisha Price, who ran the 400 for Jamaica. She literally died in the stretch. That's not her. In the stretch, when she ran her first round, she was strong coming home and had just a good a time. So, and she wasn't even pushed, or did she look stressed? So I'm not sure why that transpired with her. And my understanding is that COVID has been going around the village. And can you imagine, given how packed that village is and how hot it is, that breeds this disease? If people are there in the village all together, amazing. Not a good look, actually. So good win by Tobogo. He deserved his flowers. And I would say for this Olympics compared to others, I don't think I've ever seen so many African runners in so many finals, especially between the 1, 2, and 400. It's amazing. Mainly on the men's side, few on the women's side. And I think this is going to be a trend going forward. So I'll say to the US and the Caribbean, look out, because Africa is coming and they're coming hard. If we go to so that was the 200 meters men's final. No Jamaican in the final. I think we had Levine yesterday. He ran down the track. And I'm going to get to, before I do that, I should say this before I jump to that. Jamaica did run the 4x1 for women and 4x1 for men this morning. There's not much to talk about. 4x1 for women, we made the final, but barely. 4x1 for men, I'm a little bit confused. I thought Levine would run the curve, right? And we lost the race on the curve. The curve person took off too early and couldn't find Kishe's hand when they're supposed to deliver it for the fourth leg. Totally. Which is crazy, actually. And if you practice relays, a lot of times, and I've seen Elaine do this, took off early, but at least you can make it up with her speed. That person didn't have the ability to make it up. So you need perfect exchanges to get around the track. So people got to tell me, go back to this history. When's the last time we missed the men's 4x4 and 4x1 final in the Olympics? Crazy. I can't recall when. And it's sad, actually, that we're in this state. So J3A, go look in the mirror and stop trying to threaten your athlete. Threaten yourself for what you're doing, you're not doing. Bless up, Travis. Go threaten yourself, go look in the mirror and stop threatening your athletes. They're not your problem. You're your own problem. Get out of your own way. Work with the coaches. Get the runners on the track who have the ability to run. Let it be more patriotic and let it be something wherein the athletes want to compete and work with you versus being adversarial. Why do we have that with all our people? We have that with the government. We have that with the JFF. We have that with the J3. What is the story with leadership in Jamaica and the regular folks or the athletes or the product? What is happening? That makes no sense. It's crazy, but we're seeing it. Now we come to the hurdles, and I thought this was one of the more sure. Well, I thought this was the most sure gold medal of the Olympics. People were telling me about Fenke Bowl and what Fenke Bowl is going to do. I'm like, first of all, Cinema McLaughlin is an alien. She's not from this earth. She made Rio at 16. Rio Olympics at 16, right? She's got about 24 now, somewhere around there. She's an alien. Every time, and she doesn't go overseas and be in a diamond league and running crazy. She's very selective about what she does. I have a lot of injury problems. But when she gets to the big meet, she not just wins, she dominates. And today, it wasn't even close. I keep telling people we were on coach's desk talking about this, and they were saying there are two aliens. No, there's one alien. And people start making an excuse for Fenke Bowl that, she ran 47 plus in the mixed relay, so therefore that's why, it may have affected her. I'm not saying that's not the case. It probably could have. Maybe nobody on this planet is beating Cindy McLaughlin. In fact, what should be the concern for people? If she leaves the hurdles and go to the flat 4, and at some point even go to the 2, because she's going to be difficult flat 4. 2 may be more challenging, given Alfred and given Gabby and given Sharika. But 4 flat, I think she would go there and dominate also. She run 50.3 something for 4 hurdles. I think she will go to the 4 flat and dominate. So great run on her part. And then we had, which I thought was probably the second or third best goal item for the day, where Shorty, Grant Holloway, who for such a big man, what is Grant? About 6'3" or so, and so powerful. And I've been watching this for a long time. I remember, was it Steve Williams back late 70s, running against Donald Quarry. You come back to even Usain Bolt. When you're that tall and you're that big and you're that long, it's hard to get out those blocks quickly. And his reaction time today, I was thinking, was 108? Something like that, versus everybody else who probably were 130, 140, whatever they were. His reaction time and his first 4 hurdles, and sometimes he used to be like Coleman. Coleman would get his blazing start, and then at the 70 meter, 80 meter mark, he start, decelerating quickly. But I think Holloway has changed that, actually. And when he gets out after the four hurdle, you're just saying, who's going to be second? who's going to be second, and that's exactly what transpired today. It was who's going to be second. So big up to Rashid Broadwell, ran really, really well to come third. He didn't have the best start. He came from behind. I thought he had second. I called him for second, but again, another photo finish where you had to go to the thousands of second. I think they should just give the people, they should just run it up to 100, not to the 1,000, and give people 2 silvers and then don't give a bronze, basically. That's what they should do. It's ridiculous that they're going to go to the 1,000 seconds at the time. It's a photo finish. And you just give it to, if they tie, they tie. They hit the line at the same time. Well, they hit the line simultaneously, not exactly the same time. You can split the thing as much as you want. I don't think they should have done that. But Broadwell came third. More power to him. I know he had a minor knee surgery. He ran his season's best today. So he deserves a lot of credit. And the Olympics have been, I would say, good. There have been some excellent performances. I should say Sydney ran a world record today, which is not shocking. She breaks world record. If she ran more frequently, she may break them more often. But she does what unicorns do, what aliens do. And I thought Holloway has been dominant all season. It's hard to be that dominant in the 110 hurdles. Remind me of way back when Ronaldo Nehemiah for a long time, who became a very good coach. But big up to Holloway for winning, but also big up to Broadwell for getting Jamaica's second medal on the track. And the way it's running looking now, we have left 4x1 for women, 4x4 for women. We don't have a lot more on the track to get. It's been an awful Olympics for Jamaica on the track, but these things go in cycle. So hopefully that change. Peter Mystic is saying you have to put that conversation in some perspective, though. I don't think they can accredit all the coaches as far as I know. There's a field events coach there. Yeah, well, I mean, she was basically saying she had no coach. So let's say you're a field events coach. Does the field events coach every single discipline? He coaches shot put, he coaches discus, coach high jump, coach long jump. How does that work? Does he have that real expertise? Or do you need somebody there who, you see with a lot of US athletes who have their coach there. Now, you may say it's a monetary issue, and it could be. I don't know what the rationale is or the criteria is, but the athlete's expression of frustration, suck it up and move on. Say you can't afford it. Just like I heard the JFF today, Juan McLaren, we don't have the money, we don't have resources. I'm sure they told him this 101 times, and he said, yes, I still want the job. At least we are all clear on that, right? Peter said, I do agree, though, that there should be more understanding of the athlete instead of being adversarial. Yeah, and it's the nature of who the authorities are in a lot of Jamaican discipline. It's not just in track and field. I'm not sure if it's a cultural issue or just those individuals who sit in a seat of power and think they're godlike in the role that they play, and they're gonna punish you for every single thing. Now, look, I'm not saying people should be in discipline. They shouldn't be rude. They shouldn't be chastising our authorities all the time. But sometimes people get frustrated because it's going to be emotional being there and not having the support, thinking that you could do better if you had. Think about it. If you're doing, don't you see almost every single time when a jumper jump, for example, not as much discus or shot, but when they jump, the first thing to do is look up in the stand for their coach to get direction. And they're pointing them. You should do this. You should do that. Maybe you should slow down, change your step. You know what? Maybe you're leaning back too much. You're always seeing direction being provided by some coach in the stand, and they're always in close proximity where the athlete is jumping, right? There's a reason for that. Because you want that guidance. You're acting or you're executing the event. You need somebody overseeing what you do and who knows who you are and know how you operate to give you guidance and advice. So if it's a monetary issue, then it is what it is, but get over yourself and move on about, if they don't apologize, you ain't going to do this. Come on. I am on the side of authority a lot of times, but sometimes the authority is overbearing, and we just move on. So that was a quick synopsis and summary of the morning. I only talk about the 1 and 2, and then the evenings are the main events. Yeah, I think Brogard is setting the example, and it's not a good example, frankly. Brogard is trying to be a dictator, and it's not a good example. They want to tell people what to say and how to say it and when to say it. I'm not sure why we're saying this is democratic then. And I'm not sure when you're saying you're free, when you're trying to determine what people should say or do 24/7. So let me go into the JFF press conference, because I hear Ricardo said that he didn't necessarily answer the tough questions. First of all, people, Because someone doesn't do something the way you think it should be done, doesn't mean they haven't been effective, right? And if you're a new coach, you have to tread very lightly about what you say and how you say it. I think part of the issue is, and I'm going to be critical of the press sometimes in Jamaica, I'm not sure they spend enough time challenge themselves about what questions they need to ask and make the question so pertinent that it resonate with the audience, whatever the audience is, whatever wherever the stakeholder reside. So sometimes you listen to the question, you're like, do we need to ask that question? When you start asking questions about specific players, for example, I'm not supportive. The player needs to be an example, not the question. That's how I view it. So, for example, and the coach talked about a number of different things. So instead of me just summarizing what the coach says, let me play it. This is going to be long, people. I did take out not every aspect from the press conference. I made sure I have authority to play this. I made sure I get it in writing too. So I'm going to play this. Listen to the press conference. Some of you may have seen it already. Some may not have. And then we can actually have a discussion about it.
World country, we might not be able to give you everything that you would like, but we will give you the best of what we have to offer.
So you see that, people? McLaren, I'm going to stop it as we go through this. He's being warned. We can't give you everything. We're a developing country. I hear somebody say third world. I thought I got beaten by somebody saying called Jamaica third world. We're a developing country. He caveated here, and you hear Rudolph do it again. We can't give you everything, so don't come here expect to be a first world country.
We're going to work together, the JFF, coaching staff, the JFF administrating staff, directors. We want to all operate as a unit, form an alliance that will take us to the World Cup. We can't afford to miss this opportunity. And we were intent on putting things in place. And we went for Coach Hall Grimson. It was with that in mind. Now that we have to shift directions, we honestly think that it could be a blessing to have Coach McLaren with us. Later on, we will open the floor for questions. But again, I want to say thanks for all of you who have made it possible to be here this morning. Very, very important exercise today. When Mr. Speed told me that the recommendation will be Mr. McLaren, and we brought it to the board, it was supported overwhelmingly. I know that Jamaica is excited. I know the world is excited. Let's just stay focused, stay strong. We have to be tough mentally. And I want you to give us some support rather than tearing us down. Just stay strong. Be patient. We will be at the World Cup in 2026. Thank you so much.
So did you guys get that? I think that as he's being called by some of the president, I think he's basically saying, I'm glad we changed from. If you hear what he said, I'm not going to go back. He's basically saying, you know what? The coaching change occurred, and we're fortunate to get McClaren. And I'm going to infer what he's saying is that, you know what? I think we're in a better place than we were with the previous coach. That's how I interpret what he just said, actually. You may say, Kranky, you're reading too much into this. But if you go back to what he just said, it's almost as if, you know what? We got fortunate. We got rid of somebody left us for whatever reason. But you know what? We may have gotten better. That's the way I'm envisioning what he's saying or hearing what he's saying.
Thank you, Mr. Ricketts. Really appreciate it. Up next, we'll have Mr. Speed that will also give a few opening remarks as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master. Sermon is Simon Preston, President of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, Coach Steve McLaren, you are here, and General Secretary Dennis Chung, members of the media, supporters, staff, everybody, good morning. So a lot of people believe that technical committee is just for choosing coaches. It's really a small part of what we do, but whenever the challenge comes up, we have to step forward and do the best we can. Now, we have a lot of drawbacks, as the president would have mentioned, including resources. But in this instance, I'm pleased to say the JFF did not advertise this position. We did some so we chose the list of coaches by a number of methods: headhunting, persons that we went for, coaches that were recommended to us, and some coaches who just applied on their own. And it is true, I think the president stopped counting, but we did get more than 50 coaches before we decided to choose a person who will take the reins for the next 2.5 years. And we got down to some very interesting persons. We got people from all over the world: Australia, Argentina, Oceanic, USA, Europe. But at the end of the day, it was always going to be one coach. He literally ticked all the boxes. Coach an international team before, win a title in one of the big countries in the world. As you might know, he won the Dutch League, won Champions League with Sir Alex Ferguson, was assistant coach for England, was the coach for our national team. Also, he was the boss of Ten Hag when he was at 20. You know, the world comes around, Ten Hag became his boss at Manchester United. Coach was currently in a job at Manchester United as the head coach. He's very au fait with top class players, world class players. He has coached them all. And eventually there was nobody that had the CV of this particular coach, and that is why it was a no-brainer to choose him. Now, the good thing is that when two parties want the same thing, Coach McLaren also did a study of the Jamaica ecosystem when he was working for FIFA. So he knows about us very well. His best friend here is Wendell Downswell, not me. Right, so he knows about us very well. And so it was really two persons having the same goal that actually came together. And that is why I was able to land this coach. Just to say, you know, we now have a good coach in our ranks, but now the JFF, our committee will be focusing on development, local development, which we have some things that we're going to be put in place, and you'll hear about it soon. Definitely we have to look at our younger players under 13, 15, 17, 20 as to the reason why we performed so dismally in the last couple of years. So that is what our committee will be focused on in the future. So you'll be hearing more about.
So I'm gonna stop that there. I know some people say, Kranky, we keep stopping the video, but it's important. Now I'm glad that Rudolph talked about how well we haven't performed for the younger age groups. Because I hear from him and the other person in Jamaica who he's always at a confrontation with about how phenomenal we are when we go overseas, under 15, we beat the Villas, we beat all these teams. And if you're seeing more recently, that has not been the case. Now, you know my position on the whole quota thing. We won't go through that again. But I'm glad he's saying he's going to focus on this because I think it's an imperative. It's important to do so because first of all, I think all citizens should get the right to play for the country if they so choose. But I think it's also showing up. You see the under 20 team and now the girls, under 15 team, just transferred recently, both against the US. What was that, like 20-0 in 2 games? That cannot be good. And then another 3 to Costa Rica more recently. So I do think it's an imperative and it's important that it's a focus. I'm glad he mentioned that because we've all been asking the question, why the JFF hasn't made no statement, no commentary on this? So I'm glad he brought that up.
About that later. But for now, Coach, welcome. And I believe that the coach will bring us to what is our number 1 objective. Number 2, number 3 objective is to go to the World Cup in 2026. Coach, thanks for being here, and thank everybody for attending.
Thank you. Let me recognize also Simon, Frederick, Coach. Welcome to Jamaica. Thanks for being here. Of course, our hardworking chairman of the technical committee, Rudolph Speed, our directors, VP Raymond Grant, VP Baron Watson, other directors online, our permanent secretary, of course, who never leaves us and always has goodies for us. I don't know what happened for us today, PS, but we're expecting something big, right, President? A lot of money. Yes. But thanks a lot for being here, PS, representing the minister. I know the minister is in Paris now. She has gone to Paris. Almost. Our media, of course, we can't do it without you. Thanks for being here. The staff that's here, thanks a lot for the support. Of course, we have Mr. Love here from here also. A lot of money, but we want to thank all our
And also Mr. Chung as well. So now we get to the moment that everybody here is looking forward. The next person to speak is no stranger to Jamaica or Jamaican footballers. He's had the opportunity to work with the national players, the likes of Dion Burton, Darrell Powell, Wes Morgan, Gareth McLaren, and many others develop into their craft as professionals. He was born in North Yorkshire and has the characteristic states of a Yorkshireman who is tenacious, hardworking, and efficient. Well, we certainly look forward to these qualities and much more on the journey to the World Cup in 2026. Everyone, Mr. Steve McLaren, head coach of the Reggae Boyz.
I must say thank you very much to Mr. Speed, Mr. Chung, and the President, and Simon for the kind words. I've got to say, the moment I got on the plane to come over yesterday, through the airport, in the hotel, coming to meet the staff this morning, I've had a real warm welcome and a really good feeling about coming here, taking this job, and with the vision of the World Cup in 26. But I always knew that this country has unbelievable potential and talent, because I was technical expert for FIFA for 2 years, working on the ecosystem, which really analysed every country in the world, and we analysed 210 countries. I analysed about 20, of which Jamaica was one of them. I feel I know everybody personally, because I met through Zoom because it was COVID. So after doing the analysis and the report, 3 years ago, Jamaica has always been in the back of my mind, because it was the one country in which the potential and the talent is here, and there is such a lot to do. What I've seen over the last 2 years is unbelievable development, and that's credit to Mr. President and Mr. Chung and Mr. Speed and all the staff. It's a credit what you have achieved over the last 2 years, in terms of when I said to FIFA and the recommendations that we said, coach education, development of local talents, everything about heritage players, bringing them on board, has really, in the last 2 years, the committee, the staff, the coaches, and the previous coach, I believe, have done a great job. It's my job now to take the baton and to carry that on. And I spoke with Jaime a couple of weeks ago, and he said to me, I just wanted to leave the shirt in a better place. And I think that's exactly what I want to do. Leave the shirt in a better place. Jamaican football in a better place.
Now, I must admit, that's an interesting point, don't you think? He said he spoke to Jaime, and Jaime said he just wanted to leave in a better place, but yet he left halfway through the job. So I assume that's a little bit confusing, frankly. I'm not sure that's all Jaime told him, but it goes back to my question earlier that I want to ask, which was about did he ask Jaime exactly why he left? Was he straight with him about why he left? Did he articulate to him the challenge that he's going to face? So did he come take the job with his eyes wide open, which is very important?
hopefully, and the vision is 2026, is development of coaches, is development of the talent that is on this island, and everything else that goes with it. It's not about resources, it's about people, it's about behaviours, and it's about standards. And they're the three main things that we'll be targeting. We might not have the greatest resources, but it's the people, commitment, standards, and behaviour that will make the difference.
So I think that's very, I actually wrote that down, him saying it's about people, commitment, standard, and behavior. And it's not about resources, which I find interesting. Because a lot of the narrative we have heard, especially for one player, is about security and hotel room and flights and all that. If you extrapolate that to the coach may say it's about making sure the players are comfortable. And I think what he's basically saying, look, the person, how they operate, are the players committed along with the administration? How do we collaborate, engage, work as a collective to achieve a common goal, which is get to the World Cup? And I love to hear that from someone who's come in. And actually, here's something I want to mention also. I know people say, Kranky, play the tape and stop talk. But me have to say this anyway. That's part of what I'm trying to do here, is interpret what he's saying and try to provide my perspective on it. I think, given where he comes from, he's much more familiar with Jamaica, not just about him being technical director, but if you live in England, it's hard not to be around Jamaicans. Some way, shape, or form. Let's live in a cocoon. And he's much more familiar with Jamaica, the players, some aspect of how we as a people are, and some elements of the culture, which you say he has to learn, and you hear that. And I think it puts him a leg up than a Hogrims who came from Iceland, who may have no connectivity at all previously.
And that's what we are all here to work towards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach McLaren. Really appreciate that. Before we get into question and answer from the media, we're going to now have a presentation between the president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Mr. Michael Ricketts, and also Coach McLaren. Thank you very much, photographers. Appreciate it. Right. Yeah, thank you very much. So now we'll open the floor for questions from the media. What I would kindly encourage is utilize this opportunity, because certainly for Coach McLaren, he has some obligations in the afternoon. So please utilize this opportunity right now so that he can be able to answer your questions at this point, and we get the show on the road. So please indicate by raising your hand, and then after that you may proceed with your question as well.
So did you notice that he's the only person on the stage who's wearing a Jamaica journey? So I think optically that's also very pleasing to show his connectivity with the country.
Yes, you may come in to Roger from IRFM. Yeah.
Thank you, Roger. I think it's not just my philosophy, but it's...
So on that question, people, it's hard to hear. and I think Simon is excellent. I think he needs to repeat the question. I'm sure he's on the assumption everyone can hear, but did you guys hear that question really well? Because I didn't. We'll hear the answer, but I think Simon does a brilliant job, and he's excellent at what he does. But in some instances, the question needs to be repeated because it's hard to discern what's being said.
Philosophy over the years that has brought success to many managers, business people, politicians. It's the bedrock of any team. And if you're going to be successful, that's what you need. It's not all about resources and money. That does help. And you do need to get the best people. But you need a good culture. That's one thing from 3 years ago working with FIFA. I learned a lot about the culture of Jamaican football. And I want to carry that on. I want to learn more. I want to experience more. That's why I came here. It's one of the main reasons. It's a new challenge for me. I left a very good job and a very good club to come on this project. And I believe in it. That's why I'm here. And I believe in the people because I've known the people before. After our conversations in the process to being the head coach, the vision, the dream, what they wanted to put in place was all there. And for me, I'm excited about this project. I'm excited about the next 18 months. But it's going to be hard work. A lot of work has been done already. There is still a long way to go. And yeah, still a lot of work to do. But by them values, we'll certainly progress and go forward.
One more. People say you have left a dream job to come to Jamaica. What would have been that determining final thing? I'm certain that you would have slept on it for a good while and thinking in your mind if this is a good thing for you or what. What would have been that tilting factor for you accepting the job in the end?
Yeah, I mean, look, my ex-assistant and now head coach at Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, approached me to join his staff 2 years ago. And it was like full circle for me from 20 years ago, working with Sir Alex Ferguson, 20 years later, working with Erik ten Hag. And I've got to thank Erik, especially, for giving me that opportunity at Manchester United. And it was hard work for 2 years and many ups and downs in football. And we will have this here as well over the next 18 months. Ups and downs, but we must stick together. And that's what we did at Manchester United. And I must thank Erik for giving me the opportunity to do that. And really, when this job came up and I thought about it, it was a new challenge for me, and that's what I needed. I felt I'd done my job. I'd been there 2 years. I'd helped Erik to establish himself in the Premier League, establish himself at Manchester United, to know what Manchester United was all about. We won the Carabao Cup in the first year, Champions League football. Second year, we suffered, but we finished the season on a high with an FA Cup final. And I thought it was the ideal time to leave Manchester United on such a high. But I was so excited about the opportunity here and what I knew was here, and I knew the potential, I knew the talent, I knew what the JFF were working towards. They've been doing that for the last 2-3 years since I joined the ecosystem. And I love a challenge. And it's an exciting one. It's a World Cup. It's a World Cup. When I look at the history, 98 was the last time Jamaica was in the World Cup. The World Cups I've been to 2002, 2006 in Japan and Germany, even the Euros with England. You can't believe what an absolute unbelievable experience a World Cup can be. And that's what we must sell, that dream. We sell to everybody. But my job, our job, everybody's job on the island, every Jamaican in the world, is to make that vision come alive, to make that dream come alive. And the key is the players. It's always the players. I talked about that before, about the talent that is available. not just on the island, which I know, but also around the world, to tap into that, get the best players here, put them together. You know, when I mention it to people back in the UK, the potential people that we could bring into the team, wow.
So when this is done, people, let's talk about that. He says always the players. And I want to know when this is done, whether you agree with him, because we know how administration work. And it was always the players. Why did Grimmy leave? But let's make sure you hold that something you bring up as we talk about this.
It could be a great team. It could be a great team. And that's what we want to build. This job is not just about working, it's about recruiting, it's about getting the best players and then getting them to commit, to buy into a culture, to buy into Jamaican culture, to buy into the Jamaican way of playing. I think the last coach, Heimer, certainly demonstrate that and has left the team in a good place. I hope I can take that on and develop it even further.
Thank you very much, Roger. Let's go to Jerome and then we go to Mr. Blake. So, Jerome, Television Jamaica.
Morning, Coach. You have been identified as a modern coach. For the neutral looker or I would say the layman, just outline what that means in terms of what is it that you're going to be carrying through for the next 18 months, given that the World Cup is the main goal.
It's using all my experience. I'm here to help. I can't do it on my own. We need everybody around. And I come with a lot of experience, 35 years of management. I come with a lot of coaching experience, international, club level, top 5 leagues in the world. The last 2 years, I've worked at Manchester United. Arguably, I know some will disagree, being Arsenal or Chelsea, but
Arguably. It's an operative word.
yeah,
I agree.
we all agree. We all agree. One of the best, if not the best club in the world. I've worked there for two years, worked there previously 20 years ago. And every day on the grass, every day on the bench, the games, in the Premier League, the best league in the world. And that experience and what we won, and I've won previously, you could say that I feel I'm ready for this job and want this job, so I'll take it on.
You mentioned that this role is more than just coaching, but it also includes recruiting. A lot of talk has been made about having more of our English-born players really invited into the team. Will this be a strategic approach from you to get more of those players who actually haven't even represented Jamaica as yet at this point in the World Cup qualification push?
Like I said, the progress that has been made in Jamaica the last 2 or 3 years on the island, producing quality players who are good enough, and that's the key to it, is players who are good enough to play for the national team. I was talking with Simon, I think he mentioned 14 have made their debuts from local players playing in the Premier League this year, have made their debuts in the national team. That's incredible. That's an incredible number. So the work that is going on behind the scenes on the island is working. But we want to get to a World Cup. And to get to a World Cup, we want to be a good team. To be a good team, you need the best players. And the best players, the better the chances. So if that means we can use heritage players from the UK, from America, then we will do that. That's the ambition. And local players, they've got to be good enough. Heritage players, they've got to be good enough. But the key thing is, it's okay being good enough. It's okay having the talent. But on this project for the next 18 months, the commitment of the players, the commitment from the staff, the commitment from the committee, the commitment from everybody, supporters included, is incredible if we're to succeed. And that's the key. You come in here for a purpose, to play and represent Jamaica. And you've got to be proud of that. And if they're proud of that and they commit, and the talent that is out there, we have a very good chance.
So I think we should also hold on to that item also, which is, you notice he mentioned that the players who are coming in need to be proud to play for Jamaica. And in addition to that, he keeps emphasizing, as I alluded to before, about commitment. Because let's be honest, sometimes some players may decide to play for the country, but are they fully committed? And he mentioned it's about the players earlier. Now he's talking about more of what qualities the players going to bring, not just off the football field, but also off the football field.
Yeah, I don't want to hog the press conference. One more question. One of our leading players, Leon Bailey, I'm sure you know about him. He hasn't played for the country since March, I think, or last year, November. And I think he was suspended by the federation recently. Yeah, he has been suspended by the federation. Are you aware of this situation, and what is it that you're going to be doing from now to get him back into the program?
Like everything I do with all the players, and you know, a big part of this is about recruitment. And I like that recruitment. I like connecting with players. I like talking with players. And the most important thing with Leon is to talk to him, to connect, to communicate. And it's a clean sheet. With me coming in, I know a little bit about the history. I know a little bit about what's going on. I understand top players. I understand them. And it's a conversation that we will definitely have. My intention, I only left Manchester on Monday. I come here to meet everybody. As soon as I go back, phone calls to all the players. Go see all the players. And quite fortunate, Leon is not far from where I live, so I'll be contacting in the car on the way to meet. See what the situation is, see what his mind is like. Because what I've heard from coaches, from Meron, what I've heard from the president, Mr. Speed, Mr. Chung, is that the boy's an asset. He's a damn good player, I know that. I suffered knowing that. And you need good players, but you need them to commit, and that's the important thing. So conversations with all these players is the most important thing on the agenda for me when I obviously get the next few days out the way. I go back and I speak to all the players. Who is committed for this dream, for this vision? Who wants to play in a World Cup? Who wants to play in a World Cup? That's the question.
Thanks very much, Jerome. Let's now go to Mr. Blake, and then we'll go to CVM.
Thank you, Simon. Two questions for the coach. Cataract, the boy in the Ultras, we welcome you. Welcome to Jamrock. The supporters welcome you. Excellent selection by the technical committee, Mr. Speed, Mr. President, Jensek, for making this happen. As a Yorkshire boy, welcome you to Jamaica as well. The only Leeds United supporter here on the island. We'll forgive you for your association with Manchester United. But Coach, I wanted to piggyback on a question asked earlier. Could you delve a little bit into, for my first question, your philosophy, your footballing philosophy, and how can we expect to see our national team play similarly or differently under your guidance? That's the first question, and then
yeah, I think the style. I think I have to discover what the Jamaican culture is like, the Jamaican player, the Jamaican way of play. I've studied a lot of games which Jaime used and had previously with Jamaica, and it was a conversation that me and Mr. Speed had, that during the process I was stuck on one system. I said the system and the way of playing depends on the players, and if we can get the best players in and get a style and a system and a way of playing that gets the best out of the best players, that is the best. So that's what I'm studying now. many games in the past, going back, looking at individual players, and we talked about being adaptable. And I think Coach Heimer was very adaptable with the team, and I think we need to be as well. But I think the key principles will always be in football. You have to be so hard to beat. You have to commit. You have to be a good team without the ball. You have to be organised. You have to defend the box for your life. You have to make sure that you're hard to play against. You must be able to play football. And the Jamaican players that I've seen, they can play football. They can deal with the ball. They can handle the ball. They want the ball. And I don't know, and I'm hoping to learn that flair and creativity is paramount in a Jamaican team. And we have got flair and ability and creativity in the players. I've seen that at close hand. I've seen it in the games. So they're the three things. But they are nothing without togetherness, without team spirit, without fighting for each other, running for each other, working hard for each other, all towards a common goal. And whenever I've been in a successful team, it's been a line from the top to the bottom, from Mr. President all the way down to somebody who, you know, might have the lowest job, they think. But no, nobody does. And the key, we're all aligned in that, is for the players. And they're key. So flexibility, adaptability, getting the best players in the right system, playing in the positions that they're used to, square pegs in square holes, we always call it, to get the best out of them. We can be a major force.
So I'll say this, and I think people in the chat are saying this. He's basically saying your system of play is determined by the quality of the players that you have. So if you hear me talk about ball possession 24/7, if you don't have people who can possess the ball, I guess you have to play something which is different. It's interesting that they talk about style of play and system of play. As many would say, I'm not sure what Jamaica's style of play and system of play is. But I think he'll find it out as he go through the players, as he see them play, and he continues to look at how we have played previously.
And the second question, that's from the subscribers of Trey Anyweather Sports in Palm Beach and Sports Prophecy TV in Denmark, who I'm a local correspondent for. The question really is about heritage players. The Achilles heel for Jamaica has been our CDM, Central Defensive Midfield, in the past couple of years, just our unprofessional assessment. And the questions that have come in surrounding really two heritage players who you may or may not. And the question is what relationship you have with these players and how confident you are that you are able to attract them and bring them over the line. The first being Mason Greenwood from Manchester United, not a CDM, but Isaac Hayden, who joined Newcastle in your last year there in 2016. What are your relationship with these two players, and are you confident you can bring them over the line?
Yeah, I know the players. I know the players very well. Strange because I met Mason in Manchester United training ground about 3 weeks ago before the announcement was made. So I had to be very careful what to say to him. But we had a little conversation. We've had a conversation since. And what I want to do is to go, like I'm going to do with everybody when I get back, is to go meet them, is to have a conversation with them and find out the reality of the situation and whether they actually want to come all the way here to play for Jamaica. Again, it's the commitment of the players. So there are two players who should be of interest to us. They're very good players. And I will be making sure that I have a conversation with all the players. The President, Mr. Speed, Mr. Chung have shown me a list of potential targets, potential lists. I know them all very well. I know their agents well. And believe you me, when I get home, I'll be busy on the phone.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Whoa!
Thank you very much, Mr. Blake, Mr. Coach McLaren. Yes,
From a
Ronaldo
Leeds
Adams.
United fan, typical.
Yes, go ahead, Ronaldo.
Ronaldo Adams, CVM Sports. Coach McClaren, welcome to Jamaica.
Thank you.
As you will learn in the coming months, we are very passionate about our sports. We love football. And despite being a third world nation, we're also very hard.
Yeah, the main part. And, you know, I've had it the last 2 years. Ups and downs, success, failure. That's football. That is Jamaican football. That is all football. And it's only in the bad times. It's only in the... when you fail, when you may lose a game or draw a game you're not expected, or somebody didn't do this, somebody... They're the times that you must stick together. And it's not just about the federation. It's not just about the coaching staff. It's not just about the bunch of players. It's about the supporters. It's about this island. It's about everybody who's Jamaican. It's the heritage even abroad. They've got to be proud of their country. You know, I represented, assistant and managed England. I know what that's like. I know it. The intensity and the scrutiny. And that's what you expect. That's right. But amongst it all, we must stick together. And there will be ups and downs. And there'll be times when we're going, what is the coach doing? Why is he picking him? What is he doing that for? Why did he change him? Why did he do that? And that's football. And that will be for the next 18 months. So, you know, I always say it's a roller coaster. So we're getting on the roller coaster ride. And it's not all downhill and thrill. There's also going to be bad times. But the supporters, the players, the staff, the federation, aligned, all together, you come through. And you come through stronger. I've seen that happen. I've followed Jamaica over the last 3 years. I've seen it happen. And the strength of any federation, of any team, is in the bad times. We stick together. So I ask the supporters to do that.
Thank you very much, Ronaldo. Jamaica Glena over here. You may go inside Livingston.
Yes, coach. For the last 2 or 3 coaches, probably even longer, we have been having problems with our midfield and retaining possession of the ball comfortably. Any ideas, any plans, how you're going to impact that?
Yeah, I'd love to say, you know, tomorrow, right, you all keep the ball better. But that's the ability they must possess. And that's what I mean. That's what I have to study, you know. We call it, I always like to call it, we find a way to win. Because it's about winning at the end of the day. You know, you can have performances, and you have good performances, and you might draw, you might lose. You know, but we must have a consistency of performance. And that is one area in which I look at the team and, yeah, we could do with better. But if we can't, then we have to find other ways to win, other ways to build up, other ways to play. It's about, Sir Alex Ferguson always said to me, Steve, football's about 2 boxes. You defend 1 box with your life, nobody scores, and you make sure you get bodies in here that are so creative and one-on-one and match winners that you win games. And in the middle you have a fight. And it's so true. And in Jamaica, what I've seen in the games, defensively, very good. Creativity, very, very good. And yes, the middle, we need to find a solution. And we're trying to do that. And we'll look to do that, whether that's recruitment or development of individual players. So it's a journey which begins today. I'm excited about that. Can't wait to get the squad together, the group together, that first camp, and to build and progress from that.
How important were the English-based players or England-born players, well both, to you making your decision and even in your long-term plans with the team?
Sorry, what was that?
The English-born players, English-based players, how important were they to your plans coming into the team and even long-term and what you're planning to do?
Anybody who has got Jamaican heritage and is passionate to play for their country and shows that passion and commitment. And the goal is World Cup 26. That's something which should excite everybody. So I'm, you know, that's part of, sometimes you recruit players and you've got nothing to give them. You've got nothing to sell. Here, we've got this best-selling product going. World Cup 26, 18 months. A lot of games in between. Let's get started.
The reason why I asked that question, Coach, a lot of people believe that with your English background, it will be a lot easier for you to communicate, you know, with the English-based players.
Yeah, I think, you know, I've been in football a long time now, and the introduction of foreign players, especially, you know, from different cultures, has been absolutely fantastic. From the times of when I was at Derby County, and I remember Dion Burton and Darryl Powell. Yeah, and it was incredible, but I didn't know it just come to my mind now when I see the pictures in '98, you were in the World Cup, and they were part of the squad. And I was there in '98 coaching them. So it's so important to get that feeling. I speak a lot with Darryl Powell, I know him very well. Still passionate about Jamaica, even though he's been in the UK. And that's what we need. Not players just turning up and wanting to, it's nice, international football. No. World Cup.
That's one more, Coach. Can we have an idea? I don't know if any of the other gentlemen have picked up what the rest of your backroom staff will look like.
No, as I say, I'm over here on a fact-finding trip. I want to know as much as possible about how the federation is run, what the vision is, what they see, what resources we've got, coaching staff, the supporters going around, getting a feeling. But I think the excitement is not just knowing the potential talent of this, but I love a challenge. I love different experiences. And looking around and the welcome that I got last night, today, and knowing Jamaica, this is going to be a good experience.
Thanks very much, Livy. Much appreciated. We could accommodate one more question and then we wrap up this press conference. Appreciate everybody being here. Do we have any further questions? All right. Thank you.
All right. So that was the new Reggae Boyz coach, Steve McLaren. Really interesting conversation. I had taken quite a bit of notes. I do think some of the, Cataract is not a traditional media person, but he does ask good questions, actually. Not every media person, and that people may beat me for saying this, ask the right question, given they only have a couple questions to ask. Right? But the last question was an interesting one. It was a good one to ask, which is, what's the rest of your backroom staff? And I get the sense McLaren is so well informed and so well in tuned, and I'm sure Hagrim's giving him some intelligence and information that he finds a way to manage some of those questions really well. Because I'm sure he has in mind who he wants to be part of the staff. Most head coaches do. But then he has to know the landscape first before he can make that decision, that determination. This is Kranky Live. Who am I speaking to? Good afternoon. How are you doing? Who am I speaking to? Oh, after the game. Okay, after the game. Because this is a hindsight view, so it's after the game. So go. Well, you know what? I can't sit here sad because I didn't get a Spanish coach. And what Steve has said is, look, I can't play position football with people who can't play position football. And I think people are misinterpreting what he said about Alex Ferguson, because the view is that people are saying, well, Kranky, you don't realize the man says, we're going to defend with our life, we're going to exhibit exceptional skills in the box, and we're going to fight in the middle. By the way, people, the Man U team you're talking about play possession football. The Alex Ferguson's team, they play possession football. Yes, they had speed on the outside. Yes, they had brilliance up front. But when you have Scholes and Keane and Beckham and all those players in the middle of the park, they know how to play football. So go ahead. Well, we haven't kicked up ball in the McLaren yet. But I look, when somebody, it's like Emery going to Arsenal, and then you have Arteta. When somebody speaks your language, when somebody's affiliated with your culture, because Arteta was at Arsenal, right? When they know the landscape, when they have some assumptions about the landscape, when they say they know a couple of people who are there, when they speak really well, when they talk about the collective versus the individual, when they seem to acclimate well, then you are encouraged. Wait. They said they're not hearing you. Wait, 1 second. Can't hear. Wait, one. That's weird. Give me 1 second, people. So I've been talking to myself. Let me see if I missed something here. Okay, I know what happened, people. At least I know how to fix this, I think. All right. So you can go now. They can hear you now. I'm sure they can hear you now. Can you hear him now? Sorry about that. He didn't say much, by the way. He didn't say much. I was doing most of the talking, so he didn't say much.
Yeah, but that probably might be the most informed part of the conversation. That they would say.
No, he was saying, I sound happy. I seem happy. I seem like I'm at peace. And I'm replying by saying, okay, I'm encouraged by what I hear. I'm encouraged by what I see. I see potential. I know his history. I know I want the Spanish coach, but the concept and the perspective that he's going to play kick and hope football, I don't think so. But as he said, I can't play possession football without possession football players.
Well, I was just getting ready to say to you, you know that Trinidad and Tobago is in the market for a coach,
right?
And if at some time in the near future they would have a press conference that unveils somebody that had the conversation that he had today, I'd be happy too. Ever since I've been sharing in this space, I came to this space, to discuss, the upcoming World Cup, right? And teams from the region being able to make it. That it was important. And that the teams that in particular was Jamaica or Trinidad and Tobago. Either both together or one. And I've always said that what was needed as a coach, I was speaking in regards to Trinidad, is a coach who was a good leader, a learner, and someone that could bring everybody together to support all the stakeholders, to support the football is what it takes to get to the World Cup. And I think he illustrated all of that today. I think he spoke to the governing body of football. He spoke to the players. He spoke to the governing body in regards to, when he says it's all about people, behaviors, and standards. Okay, I think he's speaking to the governing body and saying, look, how we treat people is important, how we behave, the standards we put in place. I think he used the word commitment 11 times in that interview.
You were counting?
Yeah, I did count. I listened to the interview 3 times.
And by the way, he's talking to both players and the administration when he talks about standards, when he talks about commitment, right?
Yeah.
And he's also talking about to the collective about how we work together.
Well, yeah, he spoke to 3 bodies, I believe. The administration, he spoke to the players, and he spoke to the fan base.
Yes,
right?
he did. Yes.
And he used the word commitment 11 times. And what he is a very experienced individual, as he said, 35 years in the business, and he says with a smile on his face. But he delivered a very stern message today to everyone. So when he talked about players' commitment and buying into the culture, okay, I think that's very important, right? He's not going to mess around with anybody. Somebody asked him a question about Leon, and he said he referred to his comments. He spoke about recruitment, okay? And he says he's going to communicate with the player. He says a clean sheet for everybody. He understands top players. He even agreed that the boy, to quote him, the boy is a damn good player. We need good players, but we need them to commit. I find that to be to be a statement of intent as far as he's concerned. Right. So if I was you, I would be happy. And I think if all those things he talked about from the top, from the president, everything must line up. If all of that happened, I think he'd be pleased with what's on the pitch.
Yeah, I think he also mentioned, which was interesting actually, when the Leon question come up, that the JFF has still given information. And what I gather, they were positive about Leon and what he can contribute to the team, which I found interesting actually. Because they could have just said, look, we have some challenges, we got to figure it out. And he hasn't necessarily played with the national team, let's be honest, but they seem to have given him more of a positive review, even though he's supposedly suspended.
Well, he told everybody he also spoke to the previous coach, right? So he would have had insights, not just on both sides, actually. He'd have insights on both sides that he, so I think he was almost like his leadership quality showed up, and he was saying to everybody, I have the information that I need, but I'm still a learner. I want to learn about how things get done, and we're gonna see. And he's saying to the fan base, you need to come out. You need to support the team. You need to get on board. You need to understand that I didn't understand his analogy about it's not all downhill with the thing, but they're going to be peaks and valleys, right? And
so one second, Andre. So let me just say this. So the reporter says we are passionate about football, and I write, but not enough to attend games.
That's
we are passionate at home in our couch. We're not in front of our TV. We're not passionate to go to games.
Yeah, if Trinidad and Tobago is to unveil someone that had this level of conversation, that would be exciting as well. So I do understand your joy, but again, as Ricardo was saying, this is just the first day, and I don't want to. People just have to hope that he's allowed to do his job the way in which he's supposed to do it, and he brings to the table 35 years of experience. At least we're going to have a team, one team, maybe two, to support in the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, and I think there are a number of players, people don't really know this, who are concerned about what they may deem to be dysfunctional organization and may not want to get involved. And I got a communication today that suggests that there may be a player who is reconsidering. So already he's having effect, right? I won't say from where I got the communication, what it is, but it's probably somebody. I won't say anything more about it, except to say, I think people are encouraged already who may be able to help the team.
But you and I had this conversation recently. You could bring the entire Premier League to play for Jamaica, but if you can't get the best out of the players, then does it really make sense, right? So the ability to get the best out of the players that he already has, that is already capable, that have represented Jamaica, is important. And then you look and see what else you could add to it. So I don't think it's about having access is great, but I don't think it's only about bringing in more players. It's about getting the best out of the players, and I think he alluded to that today as well.
No, but I think it's a combination, right? Because think about it this way, and you hear that in the questions today by Cataract and by one of the reporter. We all agree that the midfield needs work, a lot of work. So you need people who can play in there. They may not necessarily be midfielders who are like CDMs or 8. Maybe you can convert some, but you need better players in there. To me, that's not even debatable. So if you can't have good midfielders, how does it get the ball from the defense on the ground to the forwards? Right? You got to go over the top and play kick and hope football. And as you said, there's a fight in the middle. If I can't win the fight in the middle, I'm not going to win the fight. Because we have this misconception that because I'm quick, which I haven't seen that quickness we're talking about, but I hear it a lot from key people in Jamaica about our pedigree athletically, and it doesn't manifest itself in the football field. Tell me where are the quick footballers we have who play for us? Apart from maybe Cephas, where are the quick footballers we're talking about for all these years? Exceptional speed. Where are they? I don't see them.
Well, that's always been an interesting conversation in regards to being labeled the fastest humans on the planet, and we should play to that. If you look at the top 10 fastest footballers in the world, there's no Jamaican in it. So I'm not so sure how that translates in some people's mind. But I think I don't know that it's true that you don't have good midfielders, and a new football mind coming into the picture could probably get more out of the midfielders than we have seen before, right? It all depends on the ability to, and I've looked at some of his ability to communicate to players and share his idea and get outcomes. You know, if you go online, you could see him conducting sessions. You know, and you could see outcomes. So hopefully you get the kind of football that you want.
Yeah, no, here's the good thing about this. So Rudolph Speed had indicated that certain criteria the coach had to have, right? And two of those criteria was, at least one key one was, he's not only a manager, he's a coach. And as we know, McLaren was a coach at Man U. And he wanted people with experience. He has international experience. He has experience in big leagues. He has coached big players. So he even wanted to walk through the criteria that he was looking for. And that Steve fits a lot of those criteria he was looking for. In fact, he checked all the boxes. So I'm sure when they look at his resume and what they were looking for, he was somebody who stand out right away, actually.
I see that the last comment in the comment section.
Right.
I never said that you don't have a midfield if he's referring to me. I never said that.
I said the midfield needs help, a lot of help. I mean, the question was asked twice by two different persons in the media, in the press conference about the midfield. There's a reason for that. Your King's Entertainment. There's a reason for that question. We all agree the midfield is part of the problem with our inability to possess the ball.
And for clarity, my response is I'm saying that I'm not so sure that the midfield is as bad as some people suggest. That with a new football mind in the picture, that we may see more out of the current midfield because of his ideas and his ability to communicate his ideas. So
no, he basically says, I'm gonna put words in his mouth. I can't make that midfielder. They have to have that ability. I think what I heard what he's basically saying, which is you want possession football, the players have to be able to play possession football. That means technical ability to do so. That's what I heard.
That's a reality.
Yeah.
That's a reality anywhere, at least, especially in football where you're not working with the players every day. So that's always a consideration. So I think people need to understand that. But I think you have in the CONCACAF region, I think you have there's playing possession and there's taking care of the football.
All right.
Right. I think playing possession, if you want to look at it, I think for even around the period just before Arsene Wenger left Arsenal was taking care of the football very well, but they won't necessarily playing possession in terms of like the way City did it or Barcelona did it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they were taking care of the football when they have it. But when they didn't have it,
right,
they weren't taking care of the defense. They took care of the football when they have it, and they scored brilliant goals. But when they lost the ball, they were all over the place.
If he can get them to take care of the football, you'd be happy.
Yes, because we turned the ball over too much. And when you turn the ball over in football, it's a recipe for losing, a recipe for disaster. So yes, I mean, it doesn't have to mean you have to play like Spain and have 95% possession and the other team, or the team has 5%. No, but at least you have to be able to move the ball from your defense to your midfield to the offense. Give the forwards a chance to express themselves. You can't express yourself if you don't have the ball, or if you have a small percentage of the ball. So every time you get it, it's so precious, you can't take risk. You have to give me enough balls I can take risk to make something happen. He talks about creativity in the final third. You have to give me enough balls so I can be creative in the final third. I can't, every time I get it, I have to be very nervous to just play it off and play safe because I'm not going to get it back. That can't be the case.
I think what I enjoy the most is his leadership quality and his leadership smile. With a smile on his face, he was saying some things that he was putting down the marker. He was drawing a line in the sand, basically, to everybody. And I think the way he did it was quite impressive.
Well, he did a lot of things, actually. He called out everybody to say, you know what? We need all of you on board. He told the fans that the first game I lose, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. You're going to tell me I don't know what I'm doing and who should play and who shouldn't play, right? He called out the players to say, I need you to be committed, not just come play some football and enjoy yourself, and you're not really focused on it. He basically says, if you don't have ambition to go to the World Cup, you don't have any football ambition. I don't understand what you're not going to focus on this. He also see it from everything that I've heard so far and seen so far, and where he resides and what he does. He talks about recruiting and he talks about the best players. He's going to recruit the best players. He's going to try to play the best players, which I think is important because, as he's trying to say, the product is the most important asset. And if I don't have good products, it's hard to get a good outcome, which I think is important.
He says to you, Kranky, you have to figure out how to get to where you need to be. You need to have pride. So that pride would allow you to get onto a plane and get to the game.
No, it's not pride. It's to go to my doctor and get those pills I used to take when I was trapped. When I was in corporate, I get those pills. You know, the best flight, I'm going to digress a little bit. The best flight I've ever had, I flew from Heathrow to JFK. And the stewardess came to me, and I was comfortable. I was in business class. And she came and said, Mr. Spence, can you tell me what we can do for you? I said, here's what you can do for me. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I don't want any support. I don't want anything. I'm fine. Just make sure that, you know what, help me to go to sleep. So I took my pill and I woke up at Kennedy. It was the best flight ever. That means I slept 7.5 hours sleep because 95% of the time I don't sleep on plane. I've flown to Hong Kong, China, Japan, 16 hours, not slept 1 second. So if you can get me some things to knock me out, then I'm good.
Do you sleep with your mouth open? There'll be some.
No. I don't sleep with my mouth open. No, I don't sleep with my mouth open. No, I don't do that.
I take pictures if you fly with me.
No, I don't sleep with my mouth open. I'm fine. Someone said Rabbit may be back in the mix. I've heard a lot of Rabbit conversation of late. Does Rabbit have a club? I don't know if Rabbit has a club to come back in the midfield, but Rabbit can keep the ball. No matter what you want to say about Rabbit, he can keep the ball. He can play football. He's got to get himself together. Seriously, he has to get himself together. And his football career is almost over. He just needs to take advantage of whatever time he has left. I don't know what are you talking about, Peter? You can't just throw. Now the midfield are concerned. They say I don't know something. You acknowledge that the midfielders are concerned without actually saying so. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that the reporters basically said so, and he said we gotta go recruit players. I think he will recruit more players. You know something? And Claudine, who may not be here, pulled me up on that because I was saying Hogginson did a good job of recruiting, getting the people who came in. And in fact, when you go back and check, Hogginson didn't recruit any players. He didn't bring one player in who wasn't being recruited previously that was new to the whole process. So it's interesting.
Well,
Peter said, I don't know if I'm sleeping with my mouth open. No, I know I don't sleep with my mouth open. People take a picture of me sleeping. I don't know how to sleep with my mouth open. And here's what's funny about sleeping. Here's what's funny about sleeping and dreaming, right? And people beat me on this, but digress a little bit. You know, when you are sleeping, right? When you're awake, you know you're awake. But when you're sleeping, you don't know that you're not awake. Isn't that interesting?
Say that again.
When you're sleeping, when you're awake, you know you're awake. You know you're not sleeping. But when you are sleeping, it seems so real, you don't know that you're not awake. Ponder that one. Ponder that one.
Yeah.
Ponder that one. Ponder it. You ponder that one, actually. You come back to me when you think about it.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So let's hope that it's all full steam ahead here, and the journey for you and everyone else is a good one. It's a positive one. I don't know what you can't expect anything else from him. He's a experienced manager. He's an elite coach. And what he said today was one shouldn't expect anything less than that. So there's no for him to is about a month away, right, for the next game.
Right. So here's an interesting point, people. When your prior subordinate, an employee, hires you because they've achieved something, it says a lot about you as a boss and their respect for you, especially that person is at a very high level. So when Ten Hag brought him in, some people can say, well, it's mainly nepotism. He must have some respect for him, his teaching ability, because he worked under him. So he knows what his skill sets are. And he brought him as a coach helping at Man U. Now, he has experience at Man U and how they operate. But it says a lot about someone bringing you in. Because first of all, you have to get along with your boss to do that. And second of all, you have to respect their capabilities for them to come work with your players, because that's going to determine your success. So it says a lot about him, actually.
What was his role at Manchester United recently?
My understanding that he had a coaching role. But I'll have to do more research on that.
As what?
With the players, actually. So I don't know exactly what is coaching, offense, defense, midfield.
Let's put it that way.
I don't remember what his title was. I did look at some of his
He was an assistant coach, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. But you know they have roles, right? So I don't know what his role was.
Right. But yeah, I think his title was an assistant coach. But it's quite interesting how he dealt with that today. At one time in the interview, he says, my former assistant, right, invited him to coach at Manchester United. He never referred to himself as an assistant.
Yeah, he wasn't a head coach. So he was the assistant. It's very difficult for. Let me tell you something. It's very difficult for you to go work for somebody who's to work for you. You can call him your boss.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
No, and that's the level of the conversation that he was having that that is interesting, and you can't. I won't read too much into it as far as the football is concerned, but I think from a leadership perspective and him drawing the lines in terms of what is important to him, the values, from the player's perspective, right, from the administrative perspective, I think that was well articulated today, and that's that's how he's going to frame the journey. That's how we frame the journey. That's what's expected to be successful. We all know that it's very important in order to get success, right? You have to have a system, and you have to have a good relationship among the people. You have to have standards set, high standards, and the behavior of all involved must be good. So, and he laid that out quite well today, I thought.
Yeah, someone say he was first team coach at Man U. Still don't know exactly what that role entailed. Was he just an advisor to the coach, or did he actually go in the field? And I think he was actually coaching. So, bless up Jamaica vibes. Bless up Jerome. Out of joint. Bless up Claudine. Claudine is in the house. She emerged. She heard me call her name. She emerged. Yeah, she emerged. And Claudine, I have been besieging people for likes and subscription today. I've left that alone and just go to the program. If it happens, it happens by osmosis. If it doesn't, hey, that's how life is.
That's a reverse psychology there.
It's not. Why do people think I'm trying reverse psychology? No, I get so frustrated. You know what? I ain't gonna bother. If eventually this thing don't work, then I go do something else, right? If I come on YouTube and people don't like my video so it can spread and subscription can increase, then at some point I'm gonna get frustrated and say, you know what? I'm gonna do something else. I'm not doing this YouTube stuff anymore. That's the way I'm looking at it now. So
well, look at another way you could look at it, right? They like the video, that's why they watch you. But consistent with fans, right, of Jamaican football, they don't understand the importance of liking the video. So you have to keep reminding them.
Well, I think a lot of them do. A lot of them do know, actually. I mean, so, look, I would agree that when I was not on YouTube, I didn't really get the importance at some point. But I think it's reiterated a number of times. I started doing it because I understood that it's important. But if you keep saying the same thing over again, you get tired, you get frustrated. And if your channel is not growing at the speed, and I have lofty ambitions that you want, then you have to go do something else. Maybe I'll go do the recording. I recorded the same song today on another. No, share it. My son told me it needs work. My son told me he needs he said confidence and attitude it needs. He said he loved the cadence and the words. It's the same. It's the same JFF song, but on a slower reggae beat. So we'll see that, and a more mature reggae beat. I'll call it.
So you gotta write. You have to write one now about the head coach, right? That utilizes the words commitment.
Commitment. Yeah, go ahead.
Utilize the word commitment, adaptability, flexibility.
No. He said commitment, standards, people, and behaviors.
Right.
You're then throwing some other words in there.
No. He also talked about being flexible and adaptable.
No. Flexible wasn't his. Flexible is somebody else. He was asked the question: does he have one style? Right? Does he just focus on one style of play? So he was responding to somebody who is very focused on flexibility. You and I know this. That was him being flexible. That was him being put in a position. And in an interview, we're going to say, I'm only have one style of play. And the person's going to be like, but you don't fit what I'm looking for. You have to tell the interviewer what he or she wants to hear, basically.
By the time 2026 come around, you're going to have an album. Wait.
See where I came right now, the song? Jamaican Family Vibe says, I'm going to read what he says. 84 people watching Kranky, 75 likes, 89%. He's even doing the calculation. That's pretty good, Kranky. You're doing well. Stick to being a YouTuber and leave the recording on the back burner. Why can't I just multitask and do both? You know what? The more you do the recording, people, even if it's not good, the more you're encouraged because nobody's critiquing you if you do it by yourself and nobody now watch it, right? But as you come to YouTube, you get disillusioned because people are like, what did one give me? 0.5. I thought he gave me 5. He said, no, it's 0.5. So out of 10, I get 9.5 negative and 0.5 positive. That's not a good thing. Somebody said growing and moderate pace. We're not doing moderate thing, Dre the DJ. When I moderate thing, we do things exponentially. If we're not, we explode. If we're not exploding, we're like, this is not working for me. Gotta do something else. That's just what I'm good at. And that means I don't know which one I'm good at. If I'm not getting liked, that means I'm not good at this. And if you don't like my music, that means I'm not good at that. So I don't know how that works. But look, Mr. Before the game, after the game, during the game. By the way, you and I need to do that. I'm gonna call you out in public domain. The video, the coaching video, we're gonna call you out. Because you tell me how your players play good football. So let's do that next week.
I didn't tell you. I showed you. So.
Well, no, you showed me 60-something passes. I don't know if it was fake or it was manufactured. Anybody could cut a video, put the passes together, and say the team did 67 passes, right? I don't know how that works. So let's convene next week and go through that.
All right.
And by the way, I saw Jamaica under 20 played, and I was counting. They didn't put 5 passes together in any game, in any point during the game. So your small team, no matter who you're playing against, people, because you're playing against your regular level, put together 60+ passes in a game, right? In one sequence. We're not talking about 60+ passes in the game now, people. We're talking about without losing the ball. And I watched Jamaica play. They didn't put together 5 passes in an entire game in a 3-match series. That cannot be good. So we need to learn how to be more technical. So maybe you can help the JFF. Maybe you can help the JFF. You know, I'm putting a good word for you. Even though I'm thinking about they're speaking to me nowadays. So I'm not sure.
Did you watch the games on the 15th today?
No, I was busy on Men's channel commenting on the Olympics. And then I had, as you know, I had Balanced View. People, please subscribe to my Balanced View channel. I think it's going to be good, actually, even better than this one. Not that this wasn't as good, but I think it's good. I had an attorney on last night talking about immigration politics. I thought it went really well, actually. In fact, before the game was on the channel supporting me, a lot of you guys need to do the same. Even if you don't like politics, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. In fact, next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about this. Family manners, including child support for fathers, including fathers in kids' lives, and most importantly, a very controversial topic, which I won't touch. Unless you come watch it, you won't see it. So I'm going to leave that before the game. Should be fun. All right, sir.
All right, my brother.
All right, thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
All right, no worries.
All right.
Take care.
All right, people, the line is open. We're almost at time. I have 10 minutes remaining. I may go a bit over if the calls are coming in, but I do appreciate everybody being here. I especially appreciate the likes. I love this audience because you guys are very supportive with the likes. I have more likes than watching. And when I do the Olympics channel, I'm telling you, I get a lot of views, but I ain't getting a lot of likes. Ton more views than I get on here, but I'm not getting enough likes. I don't know what's the story with that. Jerome said, I'll drop the link again, Jerome. But no, people, it's been brilliant, actually. I am really encouraged by the new coach. You know, you guys know I've been saying this for a while. I want a Spanish coach. But you know what? I don't think we can do much worse than Steve McLaren. I thought he was very good in the press conference. I hope he can do the recruiting because, as he said, I think it's important. And many of us know this. It's about the players. A lot of it's about the players. Now, it's also about the administration. They have to give him the tools to be successful. They did caveat this quite a bit in discussion. You hear them talking about resources and not having resources. Both Rudolph and the president of the JFF, Ricketts, mentioned that. So at least he should know the landscape. He said he has worked with them, even though it's via Zoom, because I think he's during COVID period. He should know what is required, what is needed. Right? I was trying to pick up some things here that I wrote down. We talked about style of play, and we don't really have one. I was smiling, thinking people asking about style of play. If we have style of play, we don't know. We don't know that. And about the whole concept, people, which is this. I'm going to bring this up again, which is he talks about the collective, which is sponsors, the JFF, players, and just as important, fans being part of the journey. But you can't be part of the journey just being in your living room, people. You have to be part of the journey, go to the game, support the teams. I mentioned on a previous telecast that, you know, when you look at France in the Olympics and how much medals they won, to me, a lot of the medals they won and how well they did was a result of how much the fans were supporting them in a lot of the events. I mean, the fans were crazy. You could see the athletes getting the encouragement from the fans. Their basketball team making the final, by the way. And part of that is if you play sports, or if you do anything, if you give a presentation, or if you're singing, even though I'm not a singer, so let me caveat that. Whatever you're doing in life and you're getting support from fans and you hear your name being cheered, to me, that's probably 15, 20% of your performance because you're encouraged, you're supported, you'll feel good about what you're doing. But if there's no one there playing to an empty stadium, who wants to do that? So we, as the fan base, and you hear before the game give me a hard time about my need to fly more, which I probably will, we have to support the team physically, not just via virtual medium. Right? We have to support the team. Family Vibe saying that the new coach are not really like, yeah, no, I think it's different from Algrimson, just given his background. I don't think Algrimson have exposure to Jamaica or Jamaicans like he has been. And if you could go to England, there's so much Jamaican stuff all over the place that it's easier to have that association and engagement. So it's important. Very, very important. Someone said Nigeria actually approached McLaren, but he chose Jamaica. And I heard Nigeria giving more money, and McLaren knows what he's doing. He made the right choice. Trust me. Why did I make a mistake with Jamaican Vibes? Elaborate. What did I say? I say a lot up here, you know. I know what I just said. I say a lot in talking. So you got to tell me what I said, which I made a mistake on. Most things I say is not mistakes. They're deliberate. They may seem like they're mistakes, but they're not. I try not to say something just inadvertently. I try to make sure I think before I speak. Sometimes it may not seem that way, but I do. But no, Nitro. Coaching Nigeria, I think coaching Jamaica is different from coaching Nigeria. Quite a bit different, actually. Materially different. First of all, there's location. There's a lot of different obstacles there versus Jamaica. And frankly, he talked to Hogrimson. He wasn't deterred. So that's a good thing. Chose fun, and sea. Well, it's nothing bad with being on the beach, right? The coach chose a tourist destination, which is a good thing, right? So yeah, I said Jamaica can go worse than new coach. No, no, I said that. Nah, if I said that, that's not what I meant to say. So maybe I misspoke. That's not what I meant to say. The coach brings a lot of attributes that Jamaica's looking for. So if I say we can do worse, that's not what I meant to say because that comes across the wrong way. Yeah, that comes across the wrong way. So I misspoke, which I normally don't do most times. No, what I meant was the coach brings a lot of, well, here's what I meant to say. He brings a lot of the attributes and skill set that we desire in a head coach. 30 plus years of experience, coach a national team, coaching a foreign country, one in a foreign country, coach at one of the biggest clubs in the world, some of us say the biggest clubs in the world, knows a lot of the players that we need to bring into the national team, is known by those players. The difference between me knowing you and you knowing me, and we have both situations, right? So it's a good thing. So I don't want to say we can't do any worse. No. That's opposite to what I meant. Yeah, no, that's opposite what I meant. He brings a lot of skill set that we need. Look, as I said before, I'm not gonna retract what I said, which is I want a Spanish coach, but that ain't gonna happen. And so we have someone who have a lot of the skills that we need, and hopefully it materializes in him getting us to the World Cup. Because you hear the president, you heard Rudolph says this. So here's one thing that came out of this, which I didn't play, but which I heard today. So I skipped that. You notice I skipped something in the press conference. Something was said about Bob's the Grange going to Paris, so that inferring that's why she may not have been there. And the response was, what the person said was, oh, like she's close to going there. I just read the Jamaica Gleaner, which I read almost every day. And it says, Sports Minister Oliver Grange, I've been to ICU. Now, how was she going to go to Paris or being Paris if she's going to be to ICU? People just need to, whatever we say in public domain can come back to bite us. I don't know how that works. So she's in ICU and people are inferring that she's on her way to Paris or she's in Paris. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I just read that before I came on the program. Actually, I thought that was interesting. I did cut out that segment of the program because it didn't really affect what I wanted to communicate to the audience, actually. So people, you want to call in? I am past I am 3 minutes to my 2-hour limit that I've set for myself. But if you want to call in, we can have a conversation. I am encouraged. I was discouraged by our performance in the 4x1 today for the men, and even for the women who we made at the Olympics, we made the finals. I was very discouraged by the men. Was okay with the hurdles, even though I thought, two of our runners didn't really run as well as they can run. I'm discouraged by the track performance, but encouraged by the field performance. But I'm encouraged by McLaren and how he spoke, and I'm especially encouraged by his view on recruiting and getting the best players. And I'm even encouraged by what I mentioned earlier, which is it seemed like I was told a while ago, because I think no matter what people tell you, some discussions were held with certain players about the potential new coach, and the players wanted him too. So it's not just the JFF wanted him, players wanted him. So if you have players who wanted him, JFF wanted him, some players who are not in the national team yet, a part of the setup, are considering coming in, then it does bodes well for the coach's reputation, his skill set, because players don't want to work with somebody who knows what they're doing, and his profile. And this can only help the national team. So let's hope this exuberance we feel, the good feeling we have now, carries over to the field, and that we get all the players on board, including the prodigal son, to be part of the setup, and that he can have a team where there's competition for places, players are committed, their standards being upheld, and that we do well. Okay. I didn't see that. I just saw the communication was held between. Yeah, but I did read that in recently. Well, I do think that they want to make sure they tell everyone, including the new coach, that money is tight. right? That money's tight, and that we're not a first world country. We are a developing country. We've been developing for a long time, and that he has to manage his expectation, because if you infer from what they're saying, that may be part of the reason why Grima wasn't happy. So they want to make sure they're telling everyone that, you know what, money's tight and we got to manage expectation. Claudine saying, Kranky, the women are all young, experienced team who was not expected to run. They did better than I thought. No, what I mean, women 4x1 is that we had Shelly on there, we had Sharika there. So in essence, we expected to compete with the US. But yeah, no, it's a makeshift team, and that in a bad sense, which is with the bringing runners to run the finals who probably wouldn't have been involved in the finals. Sharika may not have run the preliminary round, or Shelly for that matter, but they would run the finals. Right now, we don't have an expectation about where they're going to finish. So don't disagree with that view, Claudine. So his assistant is the goalkeeper coach. I don't know what that means, Arnar. He said he didn't have a team. They asked him about his team, his coaching team. He didn't have one. He wants to see the lay of the landscape first, maybe to see what we have on board already, who the JFF may want to be part of it. Because I think part of the whole construct is going to be, do we give experiences to some local coaches to be part of his staff so they can learn from him? I don't have a problem with that, by the way. Is that nepotism? I think it's part of the whole process. They should have maybe one or two people from the local coaching staff being part of the setup to help. He needs to bring in people who can really help him get the job done. But also, there are going to be some people who need to learn and learn from him, which will be part of the process. Come on, Jamaica vibes, please. Come on, Jamaica vibes. You know better than that. So the person would be Richard Hartis? Okay. I didn't hear that, actually. Until the first game, before the game. Until after the first game. That's what coaches get. After the first game, the honeymoon is over. Your honeymoon only lasts until you heard the first game, which is the performance. Now, if you hit the ball off the cover in the first game, then he has about 2 or 3 more games of goodwill, and then we go back to being normal. DC saying, did anyone in Jamaica team catch COVID? Apparently, Lyles ran with COVID, which I find ethically dubious, especially I've been saying that, DC, that it's ridiculous if he has COVID that he ran. That means he's selfish, which most people are. But that means the administration is worse than I thought in Paris. If you've been tested for COVID, you should not be contaminating other people. It's a highly contagious virus, and you're not running a mask. He has a mask on talking, and also the people who came to support him, the medical staff, none of them had masks on. It is absolutely asinine and crazy. I don't understand that. Doesn't make sense to me. That somebody who have COVID would be around other athletes who may be running subsequent event, being able to spread the virus. Why aren't they quarantining the people who have COVID? He's not the only one, by the way, we have COVID. I'm sure something is also wrong with, not sure she has COVID. I want to spin a rumor. But when I saw Nikisha Price run, that is not her, people. Especially dying in the stretch, makes no sense. I'm sure there are other people who probably feel not too well, but they ran anyway because it's the Olympics. But I don't think he should have ran. Why are you quarantining after the Olympics? I mean, Jerome is crazy. Why, they can't go back to Jamaica? Some of them not going to go back to Jamaica anyway. It'd be interesting to see the ones who are flying like to the US and other European countries, how that works. Because some may be going to meets after the Olympics. So it's interesting. Let's see if there are any other comments here. No, I think COVID is spreading Wi-Fi, people. I just read today, whatever it is, was it the Times, one of those newspapers? There's like 80 countries of the world they've talked about where it's significantly increasing. And they're basically encouraging people to go out and get vaccinated and go out and get and take the necessary precautions, because people are not taking precautions nowadays. So we'll see what happens. Jamaica Bass said, Noah shouldn't run in lane 5. He got a preferred lane and didn't win his semifinal race. Didn't have the fastest time. I think he's been sick before the semifinal. You watch Noah run 200 year after year after year. That's not how he run 200. First of all, he made no inroads on Bednarek. No inroads on Tobogo. He was just flat. I'm surprised he finished the race. Before you can say, when you're outside, fresh air is always moving, so your risk of breathing the virus that causes COVID is lower. But it can be a bit selfish. Yeah, I agree with outdoors being different. Still in somebody's face, you're going to catch it. I remember when I caught COVID for the second time, the person who I was sitting beside in a conference at my workplace, I could tell they had COVID. And even though I tried to move, it was too late. And I came home and sick as a dog. And I was like, that person was selfish. I could see they were sick. They knew they were sick. And yet they were still there. They shouldn't have been there. You quarantine yourself until for the 5 days, whatever days they have you quarantine. I don't know, but he probably could catch him from another athlete. Who knows where he caught it from? If you're in the Olympic Village, which I hear is cramped, then it should be spreading like wildfire, basically. And some people have much better immune systems to not the symptoms are they have COVID, but the symptoms are not apparent. Some is much more severe for some than others. So the severity of the symptoms depending on your immune system, I would guess. So yeah. Kranky, what you say on the presentation ratings? What presentation? The JFF press conference? Explain, Arna. I'm not sure what presentation you're alluding to. No, I think you would have mentioned it, Sean Blake. I don't agree with you. We heard this before he ran, actually. We heard that he was not feeling. In fact, we said it. I was on Minz's channel, talked about him not feeling well. And also, we heard that he wasn't feeling well, actually. From he ran the semifinal, I think you could basically see it. I've never seen him run a 200. You ever seen Noah come third in a 200 race? Like, think about it. You ever seen Noah come close to third in any 200 race? Or not making inroads, or not cutting down people? He barely made third. That's not. No one can convince me. Look, people are thinking, well, you're taking away Tobogo's flowers. You're not giving Tobogo's flowers. 19.45 is a brilliant time. People like Noah couldn't run 19.45. Noah's best time is 19.31. What are we talking about? And did I want Noah to win? No. He's not picking to win. I didn't want to win. But at the same time, I want to be fair and balanced views, to say that I think he wasn't well. Yeah, I mean, he was sitting down. He needed help. They took him out on a wheelchair. I don't know how anyone watched this man run all these. Watch the final, being in last place at the 40-meter mark and run down all those world-class runners, all running on most of them run on the 9.9 except for oblique, and think this man would run that way in the 200. It's crazy, and that's his favorite event. And then we hear in Kuwana says it's excused by Noah. Then people, I'm going to say this. I don't think you understand track and field. I don't think you watch track and field that well. And I think some people are just hating Noah so much. I didn't want Noah to win, that they can't allow themselves to think that he wasn't at 100%. And people are saying, well, he couldn't run 9.45. He couldn't run. Bednarek run 9.6 plus. 9.45 is a good time. Tobogo was looking brilliant. Maybe he still would have beaten him, but that wasn't the real Noah Lyles. You cannot convince me otherwise. Because that's what he's done, D. That's what he does. He's going to jump up. He's going to pretend like he's sick. He wants to intimidate his competition. That's who he is. People think that he can't control himself. That's his show. That's his show. And he's going to pretend and going to act like, you know what, everything is good. And the competition going to be fearful. Not because he jumped. So he should just go out there meek and hold his head down and act like a poor thing. That's not his demeanor. That's not how he operates. He jumps up, down. That's what he does. It's like both point to the sky. Even if Bolt's not 100%, that's what they do. That's part of their persona. That's part of how they operate. And look, he lost the race. He came third. If I wouldn't have run because I want a bronze medal. He probably still think he could be sick and still beat them. That's what he thought, I think. I don't care how sick I am. I can run past these people. It's my favorite event. They can't beat me. And he was wrong. Because you watched Tobogo in the semifinal, he looked really good. And he showed it again in the final. And he ran, what did he run in the semifinal? Like 99 or whatever it was, and slowed down from about 25 meters out, which he normally does in the 100 when he runs against some more junior people. And he did it in the 200. So Noah lost. Too bad for him. He basically said he may not run the relays. Now, is that just talk because he lost or he's disappointed? But he say he may not. He think they have enough to run the relays. He may not run the relays because obviously he doesn't think he's feeling well. So look, people will have something to go at Shannon Sharp now about, because Shannon has put himself in the limelight when it comes to going back and forth with us. So he needs some beating tonight. So because he lost, and Shannon gonna say that he lost because he's sick and he's gonna get beaten because nobody cares. Saying Jamaica camp exposed to Jamaica camp exposed to COVID. I think everybody exposed to COVID in France. When he complete the yeah, look, the relays are what's the relay ending? Like Saturday or something? So yeah, if he has COVID and it's a 5-day window, he'll have time to recover. He may be really sick now. Today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's possible. But then he wouldn't have had a chance to do any practice. So if I was US, I wouldn't run him. I don't think they should. It's been a very disappointing Olympics for a lot of things. I mean, for Jamaica, Oblique's injury, because Oblique didn't really run. And I think given that his race was over for a while and Kishane ran, he would have ran to help us make the final. So Oblique is injured, even though he ran 991. Sharika is injured. Shellyan is injured. Price may look like she's sick. Price may have COVID, for Christ's sake. Nah, he's as good as he thinks he is. He's as good as he thinks he is, Claudine. When you beat that feat he beat in 100 meters, and he's not a 100-meter runner per se, he's as good as he thinks he is. Now, is he Usain Bolt? No. But the man has run 19.31. Nah, he's good. Under 9.8. He's not a Safa. He's not in terms of times, because Safa has run more 9.7 than anybody in history. He's not Bolt. He's not Blake at his peak. But he's a brilliant runner. And he should be given, and he's in the legendary status. When you win double at World Championship, you win gold at Olympics 100 meters, you're pushing that legendary status, even though he's still only about, what, 26? So I'm going to give him his flowers. But I'm glad he lost, to be honest. I prefer Tobogo to win. But I'm not going to sit here like a hypocrite saying I think he was healthy, because I don't think he was. ARR, Serbia should have won the game today, RR. I don't think Serbia coach did the best job. Now, good. Look, the U.S. had more quality, right? But Serbia in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes left, they were up by quite a bit, weren't they? At one point, they were up by 17, one time up by 30. I actually watched, it's the first basketball game I've really watched in the Olympics, for long duration. I watched the entire second half and part of the first half. And I thought they should have gone to the Joker more, actually, and feed off him, because the U.S. was trying to double team Joker, and they were hitting the shots on the outside. In fact, when LeBron missed the 3 and they came down, they get a wide open 3. If there was Bogdanovich, I always mess his name up, he would have made that. The U.S. would have been in trouble. They could have easily beaten them. Trust me. Easily. I have no idea why Fraser Price didn't run. What I've been getting is that she injured her hamstring in practice, but there's so much conflicting information and the Jamaica camp has been so secretive about everything. Is it the camp or the coaches? I have no idea. So I will not draw any conclusion until she come out and clearly express what it is. But I don't know. Yes, they did. They should have won the game. They didn't play smart on the stretch. Granted, Joker had 4. In fact, first of all, they got cheated on one of the plays. When Durant hit that 3, the foul was before he shot the ball. That 3 should not have been given. That's not basketball, people. If I foul you before the shot goes up, and it wasn't simultaneous, it was after Joker pushed. Who did he push? Davis. That 3 should not have been given. So in essence, that's 3-point loss late in the game. Yeah, I think Serbia just didn't play smart on the stretch, actually. They had a good chance to win the game. They missed open 3. They got a call against them. I think, look, if I'm playing the last 5 minutes, Joker touched the ball on every play. US a double team. Somebody's going to rotate off. Set pick and roll with Joker. Isolate Joker in a Booker or in a Curry. Then somebody got to come double team. Somebody's open. They're hitting outside shot. It ain't that complex, people. I didn't understand what the coach was there just getting upset and getting technical instead of coaching. He wasn't coaching. I want the US to win, I'll be honest. I want the US to win for some reason. But at the same time, I didn't think Sober Smith played smart down the stretch. They played very good throughout the entire game. And part of the problem is when you have so much quality in your team in the US, because there were no weak players on the team, it's hard to beat those teams. But the US was nervous. The city were carrying on, they were extremely nervous. Extremely nervous. Before the game, I have no comment. Don't put me on a spot before the game. Come these issues. Look, I'm gonna say this. Women should do women's sport. No, the way you were born, that's the sport we should have. We have demarcation, women and men. If you're born a woman, you do women's sport. If you're born a man, you do men's sport. That's all I'll say on that subject. That's all I'll say. Because I don't think it's fair for you to be born with male features and you're male, and then you go through a transition. You're going to have more physical attributes than most women will, because I don't think it's fair, actually. I don't know the particular situation about, because some people, I think the Olympic Committee, I think she has some issues with the boxing authorities, and when she comes to the Olympics, they're saying it's different. And they denigrate the boxing authorities because they say, they're a corrupt organization, whatever it is, to substantiate their position. But in this case, I think if you're born a man, you do men's sport. You're born a woman, you do men's sport. Whether you want to transition yourself is fine, but you shouldn't be able to convert into the other sport for the other sex. I don't think that's right. That's me. And that's not me being against any person and their sexuality. I just think we have demarcation about physicality, and that's how it should be. BM says, Kranky, this is the most divisive and creative I've seen Jamaica camp at a major championship. J and JA are not better than JFF. Yeah, I think it's more complex than that. So I did push back on the association when they want to chastise the discus, the female discus thrower. But I'll say this: part of the problem is the individual camps and how they operate. And this is not new. It's been going on for a long time. From early 80s, I would say. I mean, early 2000. We had a situation with Veronica Campbell, and someone said she wants to run last leg if she's not running. We've had so many problems between the athletes who are stars and the relays and how that works. Camp, no camp. People like Frano, they're part of the problem sometimes. They've achieved a ton and should get their flowers, but they don't get enough beaten when they are divisive. And we just blame the administration. But the administration also have to take a lot of blame. And as I said before, in Jamaica, the elites and those who run this organization believe that they are the authority and everyone would acquiesce and succumb to them. And therefore, when you have athletes who have left Jamaica, done well, also have egos, and those egos clash with the coaches of those athletes and with the administration, you're going to have chaos, and that's what we have. Claudine says 7% of the Jamaica team was injured. They just put bandages on to fulfill their contract obligation. I don't think it was 70%, but we have heard the conversation about what's in players' contract and why what athletes' contract and why they may decide to go to the Olympics and maybe not perform versus being more patriotic. Now, I've always said this. I'm not going to change my tune. I'm always thinking about the player or the athletes first and their family. But if what you're going to do is going to hurt the organization, you have to consider whether or not it's the best, right? We can't be injured and say you're not injured. That's not right. But then where's the medical team to test them to make sure they're not injured? Where's the medical team? Do you tell me it's Fran and them that decide and the administration have no say-so or have no input or can't do an assessment? What happened with most football players? If Ferguson or now Ten Hag says, you know what, Rashford is injured, England will say he needs to come see our doctors. Let us determine that, right? Now, one may say, well, Jamaica doesn't have the resources, but Jamaica, I'm sure, have a doctor there. Why don't they have the person go to their doctor and say, let's check to make sure? Now, this is not like a football team, because there's a difference between national team and local team, but that question needs to be asked, which is, why is Sharika in the 100 or 200 when she's injured? Now, someone will say, well, it didn't matter in the 200 because we only had 2 qualifiers. That's fine, but we also have a relay team. So that needs to be sorted out, actually. I think there needs to be a better relationship between the different camps and the administration, and they need to work in concert versus being divisive in terms of how they operate. So DC saying possibly an unpopular opinion. Sports need to be spun off into its own ministry. Each federation, association, organization needs to be held accountable. Too many fiefdoms. Yeah, can't disagree with that one. And everybody wants to be the big dog in the room. That's why we have problems. We have chaos. I'm tired of seeing the U.S. being dominant. That's played out. This is a billion people, Jamaica. Well, the U.S. weren't dominant. I mean, think about it. When last did the U.S. win the 100 meters men? It's a long time, right? Bolt won what? 3? Jacobs won 1. I think the last one Gatlin or Maurice Green, one of them. They have been Gatlin. But they didn't win for a long time. They didn't win for about 20 years. So they have been dominant. And the 100 meters is the key event, right? And in the women's, it was just as bad. It was even worse. We had Shelly-Ann 2, Elaine 2. If we just use Olympics, they did win the last World Championship. So they didn't win this one. So when last of the U.S. won women's track 100, I can't even recall. It's been that bad. Wasn't it like Gail Divers or something? It's been a long, long time that they have won women's. I mean, some people in this program may not have been born when it won the last time. So I would say that kudos to them for winning the men's 100. They didn't win the women's 100. They were the favorite. They won the 200 because to me, Sherry could have won if she wasn't injured. Said Gatlin was the last one and Gady was in 96. Yeah, it's a long time, CC. Think about it. Not winning an event that you're supposed to be dominant in for 28 years, that's a long time. And not winning since Gatlin. When did Gatlin win? 204? I think it's before he got caught for whatever he was taking, right? So, Ernest said, I think Francis is the problem. Yes, I rate him, but he doesn't care about the team events. No, and he's a problem child. He wants to criticize everybody, and nobody wants to criticize him because he's the Lord Almighty of athletics. He's divisive. So for instance, Kranky, we don't need a doctor there to know Sherika was injured. She even disclosed to her sponsors after trials. She never can't reveal. But she may have been. No, it's not after trials. She ran in Europe, actually. Forgot. She got injured. She may have been injured up to trials, but it may not have been severe. She ran in Europe and felt what they said was a cramp, which was not a cramp. It was a pull, but they lied. I'm going to say they lied. They may say they didn't lie. I'm going to say one can allege that they lied because it turned out that wasn't the case. Or they misdiagnosed. Either they lied or they misdiagnosed. And that wasn't good for Jamaica. It wasn't good for all of us who were... I picked her to win the 1 and 2. She may not have won the 1 because 10-7 is a brilliant time. But I definitely think she would have won the 2. She'll beat Gabby. Even though Gabby's been running brilliantly all year. But yeah. So didn't work out well for us. But we can't win them all. We've been brilliant for the last 4 Olympics before this one. And this one was a downer. Sometimes you need some humble pie, people. You need to eat some humble pie. It allow you to go regroup, reassess. Because I can tell you, we talked about Africa as like one country, but that's how people talk about it. A number of African countries are getting better and better at sprinting. Yes, Tobogo won. But you know how much people South Africa plays in a bunch of the races that they normally didn't? South Africa was never a track and field country per se. It was more like Tanzania way back when. Kenya was always there. A little bit of Uganda. Then you have Ethiopia coming on. Right? It's not those countries. And now we're seeing, and then you have Nigeria now coming on much more than they used to. South Africa coming in much more. You have sprinkling from Zimbabwe and Botswana. You're seeing much more of that. So they're focused on, they're not just running long distance anymore. They're just running track and field. They're just running track. Maybe not as field as much, but they're just doing track. If they're smart, they will do the field also. So it'll be interesting to see how that materializes over time. So we won't be dominant. I don't think we'll ever be as dominant as we were from 2000 to 2020, what? 20 or 2021? I don't think we'll be as dominant as we were before. Yeah, I'm not going to say they didn't lie, but it's either they lie or they misdiagnose. One of the two, Claudine. It's one of the two. Even Japan excelling. But see, with Japan, there's discipline there. Probably the most disciplined country I've ever been with. You ever been to Japan? Jamaica family vibes? People don't even cross the street when the light is red. I broke that when I was there. I was like, I ain't standing up here with no traffic coming and standing watching the light not changing. I'm not doing that. So maybe that's me and being a little bit unruly, but people there are disciplined. They're in line. The line is long as heck. I went to the airport once to go to Jamaica, and I thought I was at the movies in the 70s or early 80s in Jamaica where people are clanging each other's head to get into a movie. It was amazing. People pushing like they're going to get on the plane before they call them. And you go to Japan, the line is around the corner for distances. Nobody cutting the line. You go in the line where you have, I'm glad. So you've been there. You see the discipline. The discipline is ridiculous. In fact, to me, it's even too disciplined, to be frank. You need some variety. I think they're too monolithic. I think you need some variety. But you go watch the line, it goes around the corner of the corner, nobody cutting the line. Nobody going in front because they have friend in the line. Yep. Ridiculous. Yes, South Africa is going well. They may not make all the finals. They may not get a ton of medals, but they're in most of the races. And I think they will continue to improve. So people, it's almost 8:30. I did say 2 hours. First of all, I know the regular listeners to this program, because I didn't have to whine and complain and gripe about getting likes. I did mention it at the outset. I try not to mention it a lot more. Please subscribe to my other channel, Balanced View. I did drop the link earlier. And I think next week is going to be real interesting. So I'm going to drop the link again. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. You can't just follow sports 24/7 because sports is part of life, but it's not life. So you could come. We had an attorney on talking yesterday. I mentioned that about immigration. I thought it was a very good conversation. If you haven't watched the video, please watch it. I did make a mistake in that setting, like I made it the day before. I won't say that's too loud, but I forgot to turn it live on. So we were talking for about 7 minutes, thinking we were live, and we weren't. But I recovered from that, through the program, and it went really well. The next note I was thinking about not clicking the live button. So we did talking, and I did introduction of him, and then I realized, because I'm always watching my iPad, I'm watching the likes. I'm like, oh, nobody's coming in. What's happening? I don't see us talking. Yep, it wasn't a good look, but it was very good conversation. He's a very informed person. I'm gonna bring him back. I think he's going out of town, but I'm trying to bring him back to talk about some other stuff that he does, that he does as part of his practice, mainly around family matters and some of the interesting topics, actually. No, Claudine. It's people who are regular returnees, because when I do my Olympic watch along, I get much more views than I get here, and I get 10 times less likes. Trust me. It's not even close. Likes versus. I'm going to give you an example. I did a watch along. I must have gotten 20,000 views for the 100 meters final. And if I got 150 likes, that was a ton. So right now, I have 78 people in the chat and 106 likes. So it's regular listeners or people who are here with me who I have moaned about, and they don't want me to moan anymore. So they spare me moaning. They want to hear my moaning, so they shut me up. But no, if I don't moan sometimes, Claudine, that's not happening. All right? But anyway, people. Claudine, for the game, family vibes, Tuffy, Ernest, CC, everyone in the chat. Drew Ross, who's always here. Even Travis Presso almost hit. Thanks for being here. I appreciate everyone. I am back on Monday, both for Kranky Live and for Balanced Views. And I hope you join me. Right, we're going to talk about a lot. EPL starts next week, Saturday. I must admit, the Olympics, I'm so involved with the Olympics and so involved with doing some of this. I haven't really missed the EPL as much, but I'm sure I'm going to appreciate when it's back. I'm going to do a lot of watch along for the EPL, actually, because I do have some more time than before. So it should be good. Mm-hmm. So 7 minutes and not online. What does that mean before the game? What do you mean by 7 minutes and not online? Do you mean to say online or something else? Or not wine? Is that what you're saying? And by the way, people, I need your input. Since a lot of you are regulars here, and I appreciate you, I need your input. Should I give up my songwriting or should I continue? I need your input. No, seriously, I'm dead serious about that. Okay, I'm gonna do something else. Because it takes time to write a song, even though I do some of them quickly. Should I give up my songwriting? Okay, should I give my songwriting? Should I give up the beats that I use? Should I give up my DJing or whatever the heck that I do that's not really DJing? My talking. I need your input. I need your input. I need your input. I need your input, people. So if you give me your input, I'm a value input, actually. Right wing. I used to play right wing in football, Jamaica Vibes. We used to call it right wing one time, Jamaica Vibes. Right wing and left wing. I didn't play out there long because I wasn't that fast. I played more CDM and center forward, but I used to play right wing. That's the only right wing Jamaica Vibes I'm going to be involved in. Ricardo, your views are not appreciated and will not be taken into consideration. Let me just say that. I want balanced views. I want balanced views on my musical career, people, and I want Ricardo's views. He's been negative from, okay, say, Marcus said, yes, dub poetry is a better terminology for it. Yes. Thank you. Claudine, you're so supportive. I appreciate that. You see that, Ricardo? DC says, continue. It takes time and dedication, and you have to put some mediocre to get to good. See? Thank you, DC. Thank you. Keep Michael, let's take carried away. He's not singing. Ernest said, sell lyrics Kranky. You can make some. You know what? I may think about doing that. Maybe that's the right thing. Maybe that's the right thing. Maybe I should think about writing lyrics. Because I enjoy writing, I used to hate writing when I was in high school. I'm going to tell the truth. With a passion. I have my nephew here who doesn't like writing, my young nephew, and I'm trying to impart to him the importance of the English language and him knowing how to write. So I'm going to beat him over the head continuously until he gets there, because I used to hate writing in high school. And then when I was in corporate, you're forced to write and edit. At least what job I was doing. And it is not the worst thing in the world. We're going to say you're biased, Kranky. I told you this. I told you the same, but I told you to go dub poet because the word's good. All right, Ricardo. I don't remember that. I just remember you being negative. So you have trying to bruise my ego, and it probably got bruised a little bit, not substantively, because I am one of those Jamaicans with that view, which is, you know what, I'm gonna do my thing. But okay, I'm taking that back, Ricardo. I'm gonna take it back. Thanks for the dub poetry comment. Yes, something, Ricardo, I've ever said this. Yeah, Ricardo. Sometimes the truth hurts, so we don't want to hear the truth, right? That's the JFF. Sometimes the truth hurts. They don't want to hear the truth. Wow, this must be a coach saying this. You only fail when you stop. It's like investments. You only realize a loss in the bear market when you sell. No, it doesn't mean you have a loss. No, I'm going to have to teach you about this before the game. This is my territory. Even though I tell people I'm not an investment expert. You can sell in bear market. You could have bought, say you bought Apple late 90s, early 2000s. Your investment would have gone up. You know what? Don't go that far back. Say you bought Apple in 2007 when the market crashed, right? So you bought 100,000 worth of Apple. Then, and say it went down to 50,000. If you held that investment, right, it would have been 1.5 million today. So let's say 2007 was a bear market. You bought it for 100,000. It dropped to 50,000, which is half that number. If you kept holding it, today, by today's value, so that was what? 2007, 17 years ago, it'd be about 1.5 million today. So it doesn't mean that, if you're in a bear market, doesn't mean that you have to sell. Or even if you sell in a bear market, you could have bought it a while ago, it appreciated, and now it's valued much more than it was. So yeah. I agree with that perspective, BM. There's no competition for her in the Formula hurdles. Don't believe that Fenkebo can compete with her. I totally agree. Dub poetry sounds good. Yeah, I have to try the dub poetry thing. I've got to work on that actually. I am willing to, because I don't have time. I would be willing to go to a class and do these things. I'm always willing to learn. If you think like the corporations, it's a loss. No, I don't. No. Whether you're a corporation or individual, it doesn't really matter. Right? So if I buy a stock in the market, say 10 years ago for $10, it goes on. In a bear market, it goes down to $5. If you hold it and appreciates, still can make your balance back. Now, if you decide to sell when it goes to $5, which I have done, by the way, people in my past, then you're not that smart. Trust me. Or what I did was sell and buy something else. And then what I sold went up and what I bought went down. Because everybody in the market, no matter what they will tell you, make mistakes. So you probably should buy and hold. First of all, if you buy and hold it for another year, it's long-term capital gain. The tax rate is much better when it's a long-term gain than it's a short-term gain. Because short-term gain, you get taxed at your regular rate. Long-term gain, you get taxed at a rate that they have for long-term investments, just like venture capitalists. So anyway, we won't go into that today. That's on my balance channel. We talk about these things. Jamaica said, Shannon, which state you like in? You probably don't remember, but I had a conversation with you and Coach Desk at the Jamaica game in Dallas. I'm in New York. Yeah, I don't remember, but are you in Texas? Oh, so you were in Dallas. Okay. I'm trying to remember because we went to 2 games in Dallas. I'm getting a little bit seasoned, so my memory's not what it used to be. And I should recall if we had a conversation, actually. But there weren't a ton of Jamaicans there, so I shouldn't forget, actually. I'm trying to recall. But before the game was in Dallas also, by the way. Tuffery said, if you bought in 2005 or 6 before it splits when it was 95, you'll be in an excellent position. Yeah. You should be able to retire today with it. I won't tell you if I had it or not. Let's just say I sold it, which wasn't good, actually. But no, those stocks, I mean, NVIDIA is now the stock to buy, even though I think it's appreciated too much. But yeah. Anyway, people, I've overstayed my welcome. Thanks for being here. Monday should be a good day. I am pleased with the new Reggae Boy coach, even though I wanted a Spanish coach. But I think we got somebody who has a lot of the qualities we should have in a coach. And the hope is that he will do well, we will do well, and we make the work up. Oh, so yeah, Tuffy, if you had Apple at 95, so it went down to about 80 during 2007, after about 2008, 9, and then it went up about 30 times subsequent, or maybe more. So think about it, people. If you bought it for $1 in 2007, you get $30 in the next 17 years. That means it appreciated more than 100% each year. Now, compounded is less than that, but just simple. It's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal, people. But anyway, should I play my music to go out, people, or should I just close the stream down? You guys tell me. See, you guys determine what I do, Should I give you Kranky live? Should I give you ball possession before I go out, or should I just close it down? I'm going to go with what you tell me. During that time, Google was 200. Yeah. Yep. No, true. I think my thing here is messing up, actually. All right, run the tune. All right, so we're going to do Kranky Live to go out, people. I appreciate you. Be back here Monday. Try to come up with some creative topics. And by the way, people, I'm going to do more. I said it before. I'm going to do more EPL because EPL is back. I'm going to try to do some NFL. I'm definitely going to do some basketball. All right? So take care and good night. Thanks a lot, everyone. Kranky Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk and it's free, yo. Kranky Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Kranky Life, tell them. Kranky Life, heed them. Kranky Life, want them. Kranky Life. From the course to the field, we'll never lose because Kranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Kranky Life, tell them. Kranky Life, heed them. Kranky Life, want them. Kranky Life. Kranky Life, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Kranky Life, get to know the name because Kranky analysis is never lame. Kranky Life, give me my Kranky Life. I want my Kranky Life. Must have my Kranky Life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Kranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat, and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Kranky life. Tell them, Kranky life. Heed them, Kranky life. Warn them, Kranky life. If you're from England or a USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Kranky Live. Tune into Kranky Live. Like up Kranky Live. Subscribe to Kranky Live. Kranky Live coming to you on weekdays. Kranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Kranky will always bring the heat. Kranky Live. Me say fi tell them Kranky Life. Me say fi heed them Kranky Life. On them Kranky Life. Kranky Life will be around. Kranky Life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Kranky Life. Kranky Life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them, Kranky life, Kranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Kranky life, Kranky life, Kranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed, want, heed them.